August 21. And we remind everybody that the meeting is being video recorded.
August 18th, just to make it legit.
Oh, the 18th, sorry. We take a moment at the beginning to appreciate our troops serving around the globe in defense of the country, especially where we've been at war for 6 months or so now. Thank you. We want to take a moment at the very beginning of our meeting to note the passing of two long-term residents in town, Eva Potts, usually called Eve, who was a teacher in town, and also William Billy Reynolds, who was a call firefighter from 1995 to 1980. I know that Eve was recommended for the volunteer awards that the Medfield Foundation does to recognize people. Our first appointment is with Hunter Guthrie to request a proclamation for the 250th anniversary of the First Baptist Church in Medfield. And if you're listening carefully around town, you're hearing bells ringing. 250 bell rings for 250 years.
Hunter, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Mike, I'm getting a notification that there's no sound.
Let's see. I'm not on. I just joined Zoom, so.
Okay. Are you mass access?
Yeah.
Okay.
Testing, testing.
Recording in progress.
All right.
We're good.
I would just like to thank you for bringing a pulpit, just since you heard a preacher was coming. I'll try to make the best use of this if you've got time. Anyhow, thank you guys for allowing me to come. As many of you heard, we just rang our bell 250 times because incredibly 250 years ago, our church formed with permission from the First Baptist Church of Boston, which is even older than we are, and we formed with 27 members and a 23-year-old senior pastor. One of our original founding members was actually a slave, which is just takes you into a whole different era of our history. So we're grateful that when slavery was an institution in this area, nevertheless, she was a full and equal member of our church. So we're just here. We're grateful to be part of the town of Medfield. We're grateful to have a long-standing history here. We're thankful for our public servants who are so integral to the way that our town functions. And we just wanted to celebrate on an anniversary year, which we share with the town, 375 years for the town of Medfield, 250 for us. And we would just like to have a proclamation celebrating 250 years of partnership with the town. So thank you all for the time.
Thank you so much for coming. So our proclamation will be in the works, I guess, then.
No, the
No, we have it.
proclamation is,
Oh, we
is in
have
the
one?
packet. Yeah.
Yep.
If one of you would like to read it.
Gus is a member. Do you want to read it?
Herbie, would you like to read it as a member of the church?
Yep, you're putting the minister here on the spot. Do I want this guy reading this? Sure, I'll read it. Town of Medfield Resolution. In commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the First Baptist Church of Medfield, 1776 to 2026. Whereas in 1751, Ebenezer Mason and Ezekiel Adams were granted membership in the Baptist Church of Boston. In 1752, permission was given by the Boston churches to conduct Baptist meetings in Medfield. And in 1772, the first meeting house of the Baptist Church was established in Medfield. And whereas 250 years ago, on the 18th of August, 1776, 29 members of the Medfield branch met, read, and voted on the Articles of Faith and declared themselves the First Baptist Church of Medfield, thereby ensuring religious liberty and diversity within the town. And whereas the Baptist Church since that time has continued to grow, flourish, and assist in the establishment of Baptist churches in many of the neighboring towns, and whereas the church has served the residents of Medfield through its various programs for the Scouts, the blind, the infirm, the youth, and the imprisoned, and has, through its service, become a vital and valuable community institution, promoting the spirit of community through its civic and ecumenical projects. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Medfield Select Board, on behalf of the residents of the town of Medfield, do hereby honor the members of the First Baptist Church of Medfield upon occasion of the 250th anniversary of the formal establishment of the Medfield Church during this, the semi-quincentennial year of the United States of America. We hereto affix the seal of the town of Medfield as of this 18th day of August, 2026. Osler L. Peterson, Chairman. Eileen M. Murphy, Clerk. Gustav H. Murby, third member.
Here, here, and so say us all. Welcome to the new guys in town. Our next appointment is with Nikhil Kumar, our summer intern, to present a summer internship project. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being an intern.
Yep, of course.
Nikhil, I just promoted you to panelist. You just
Yeah.
need to accept. There you go.
Okay.
And then you should be able to, hold on, let me just get you sharing settings. Now you should be able to share as well.
My name is Nikhil Kumar, and I had an internship this summer with the town administrator. Just a little bit about me. I'm a rising freshman at Boston University. I'm studying abroad in London my first semester, and I'm majoring in philosophy and political science. I plan to minor in sociology, and I also have a side interest in economics, and I'm a Medfield resident.
Awesome.
When I was choosing this internship, I wanted to explore possible career options. I wanted to learn more about how municipalities function, because when I took AP Gov, I really only learned about national and a little bit about, I learned a lot more about federal and a little bit about state, not really anything about local government. And on top of that, I wanted to learn about what federalism looks like on the lowest level, how the federal government interacts and supports, and same with the state government interacts and supports municipalities. Some assignments that I had over the summer is the Medfield State Hospital website redesign. It's still in drafts, but I think it came together really nicely and comprehensively. I looked at the fiscal year 2026 contracts, tracked them, updated the status. I did the same thing with grants. I also looked at the Medfield Citizens Academy, looked at maybe possible updates, as well as updating. I created the new application. I made sure everything's up to date for the new the second year of this Citizens Academy. I looked at public hearing notices, looked at in the mail, are they up to date with our website currently? I also looked at flag policy, did like a bit of a comparative analysis of other towns in the district compared to ours. Is ours more too strict, restricting to par with everything else? I also did the resource directory website update, where it's just like the current business certificates, are they matching what's on the website? As well as the town administrator website audit, which is, I just looked at, are there redundant tabs? Are there redundant information? Could we add some more to make it a bit more seamless? Is the general framing of the website as comprehensive and intuitive as it could be, as well as calculating the IT budget, because it did go over budget this year. And then some highlights. I had the privilege to visit the fire department and the public works department. I found it really interesting with the fire department, especially with the mutual aid, how we often go to other towns if there's a fire and help the other fire departments, as well as how it works on volunteers with few paid employees, and then same with the public works and how few employees and like how much work they really do and how much it's really not seen in the day-to-day life here. I also found the tracking contracts was really interesting, seeing how taxpayer money was spent and learning about what's new in our community and what's to come. And then reviewing budgets was interesting, especially because there's a high level of foresight in budgets that some of what goes into it I just never would have thought of. And seeing it now, it seems common sense, but it really isn't when first getting into it. And then on top of that, the efficiency of government spending. And then the Medfield State Hospital website revamp was very rewarding when it came together and we saw the finished product. I think it's a lot more comprehensive. It's so clear, and it's also just a really interesting and massive project that the town is doing, and I think it's a great thing that the town's doing as well. And then just a quick reflection. I found it really interesting and insightful how much planning and interdepartmental communication goes into every project. And it, on top of that, is opened my eyes to the grander role of representatives in Congress with the earmarks. And then on top of that, with state government, with grants that we got with just pertaining to the Medfield State Hospital, around 10 million in grants, which is amazing to support that project. And then while I was also looking at the Medfield State Hospital, I realized that the town's water supply is something that's like taken into critical consideration when talking about new housing, and I found that to be incredibly interesting and insightful when planning new housing, because it's really easy to just say like we need more affordable housing, but not to think about what really goes into that. And then again with the mutual aid agreements between municipalities, it was new to me. I didn't know much about how much municipalities work together and communicate, but the 911 hotline that we have in Medfield is an amazing resource. Same with the fire department and the Veterans Affairs Office. I think that's amazing. And then some potential future roles that I've been thinking about for myself are I want to become a civil rights attorney, constitutional law, and there's so many other sectors within that I've been interested in, but can't really make a decision yet. And then public defender, possibly. Community organizer, where I would just be working with organizations, fundraising, food drives, clothes drives, or maybe much further down the road, a federal or state legislator. And just applying this internship to my future, I think I've learned a lot about finding ways to better connect and communicate with the community, understanding the inner working strength, weaknesses, limitations, and impact of municipalities, especially with, as somebody, if I do work independent of the government, where can I do my best work and where can we ask the government to step it up? And then analyzing and understanding policy is just something that everybody should be able to learn and do, and something incredibly important to daily life. And then I have a couple policy suggestions. When looking at the current flag policy, our current flag policy is the American flag, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and Town of Medfield flags are the only flags approved for town property. That's our current flag policy. There's 6 other towns that openly have their flag policy. In Braintree, Franklin, and Medway, they allow the Progress Pride flag is among the allowed flags to be flown. In Brooklyn, Dedham, and Foxborough, Select Board has discretion as to what flags are flown. And it's not really a surprise to many that we don't have much controversy within this town, but when it came to the flag policy, and a couple of years ago, that has come up as controversy. And so an update to the flag policy gives more leeway to certain events that we're hosting within our own town and to support for different communities within our town. So why change this policy? I think it's important to confront what it means to be an ally. And in my belief, being an ally and allyship is not something to be declared, but it's something to work towards forever and always, and it's something to consistently be shown and demonstrated. And so by allowing the pride flag, the progressive pride flag to be flown, it symbolizes that the town of Medfield is a safe and protective community for LGBTQIA members, as well as it shows that as a town, we're fundamentally against xenophobic violence, and it further breaks down the stigma around the LGBTQIA plus community. I know that in the schools, there was a couple of members of the LGBTQIA plus community, and as well as there can be comments against them, detrimental comments to mental health. And we do have Medfield Outreach. That's a great resource for students with free mental health services. But I think as a town with the government, because we are, the select board is decently separated from the school committee, it's important for us to work towards that on our end, on this end. And on top of that, we have to think about the core character of this town. And a major factor of this town is the strong school system. That's why so many families move here. And so with that, it means that as a town, we're responsible for and incredibly influential towards the next generation of Americans. And so we have to ask, what do we want the future to look like? And in my opinion, it should be an all-inclusive, empathetic, and compassionate community. And I think that being able to raise the pride flag, the progressive pride flag, is a big step, but it's something that has to be done with other policies, other inclusive policies. It shouldn't be done in isolation. And just looking at what the progressive pride flag really means, you see that you have the intersex community represented, you have the trans community represented, you have black and brown queer community represented, you have the arrow shape that means moving towards equality, moving towards more inclusive communities. And then you have the rainbow, which is humanity, diversity, spirituality, etc. And then the black line as well also represents those who have died to HIV and AIDS during that crisis. And so just raising this flag shows a great amount of support and could be a step towards a more inclusive community. And then again, during the Select Board Goals Workshop, you guys had mentioned that one of the goals is increasing youth involvement and leadership. And there's a couple options that I was thinking that could be really helpful. One, we have, during town meetings, we can make an agenda item specifically dedicated to non-voting youth, which would be normally 14 plus, just to put an age on it, residences issues. The town moderator would use their discretion to authorize any student who wishes to speak. And then the informality of this method makes it subject to some criticism, but it would be a really good way to test run the idea of and see how this would really increase youth involvement. Another option is work with school committee to create a position for student rep to select board. It would functionally be identical to student rep to school committee. And then we can have set dates for student reports, inquiries, and grievances. And then another option, this one actually, I reached out to one of my former teachers, Miss Ren Burgess, and she had mentioned that this could be a good way to increase youth leadership and involvement in government. We have a school talent bank in which students would fill out something, right? They show their interest, they show their strength, they show their weaknesses, and then based on committees that we currently have, we can suggest, this might be a good fit for you if you would like to participate in this. And we could have 10th to 12th graders could be recruited as junior non-voting members of actual committees and boards where they could participate in research, prep, advocacy, etc. of the actual board work. And if that was presented to me, if I had thought of that, I think that would be an amazing opportunity. I think I personally would have 100% done that and loved that. And on top of that, that'll increase participation from a new demographic of the town and create very civically engaged students for the future and citizens. And I just had some food for thought. These are more, suggestions to think about. I wasn't able to concretely or formulate some policies around it, but I think it is something to address. Better communication with residents. I find that a lot of residents feel out of touch. Especially with something with the delineators, right? So many people were just caught off by that. And I'm sure there's so much more that they're just like, oh wow, I didn't know that was going on. And it's something that, it could foster a lot more appreciation for what the select board does. And then on top of that, a lot of them might want to get involved, but they feel that they don't know where to begin, or they have so many other obligations. So there needs to be an easier way to really get them there. And so the website revamp should take care of a lot of it, because it'll just make everything smoother, that experience a lot easier, and everything more accessible. But I think also maybe a consistent email every 1 or 2 months that details the most impactful projects going on, grants, more things of that nature to the entire town. Make it easy to subscribe to, and then put it on the main page of the website. I think that would be really helpful. And then I had something, this is one of my more important parts. This is the last part. I believe that as a town, we must reject all attempts to install Flock, Axon, or other ALPR systems. ALPR systems are automated license plate reading cameras. That's what they are officially known as, but functionally, they're mass surveillance networks that use AI to process and store everything captured on the cameras. Getting into their capabilities, permanent records are kept, which means that retroactive surveillance is a thing, which is incredibly dangerous and something unprecedented. On top of that, license plates, faces, body structure, clothing, and wireless connections are captured and logged. With the wireless connections, a new technology that's being integrated widely with a lot of these cameras is signal trace. And what that does is it can collect electronic communication patterns and identifiers from consumer electronics, which includes mobile phones, smartwatches, fitness trackers, RFID tags, Bluetooth devices, and vehicle components. And then I'll get more into the danger of that later. And then on top of that, another capability is that it tracks and records metadata, location data, device identifiers, and association patterns, which are deeply revealing and not targeted towards those who have committed crimes. Now, this is part of the danger. There's no clear rules around purpose limitation. There's a lack of retention limits, which means that data is permanently kept. It's not limited to defined use cases, which means that for any reason anybody wanted to, they can access it and then see, all of the data that's collected. There's a lack of access controls, which means that agencies and other municipalities can access the flock cameras or the ALPR systems within our town, with nobody to say no, where you can't do that, or any rules around that. There's a lack of proper audit logs, which means that a lot of the times people will cite what they're going in for, but it's not a proper reason. There's a lack of independent oversight as well. Currently, I believe it's really only the government and the company that's actually installing this technology that claims that it's doing its own oversight, but that's a conflict of interest. And then there's, on top of that, a lack of public transparency with what is actually captured within these cameras. And it needs proper procurement review, right? We need independent privacy impact assessments, legal reviews, and community oversight. And within that privacy impact assessments, you would have to confront the proper deletion rights where legally appropriate. And so if we go back here, talking about the association patterns, that means that because you're able to track electronic communication, it means that if there are certain clumps of electronics consistently together, it means that it can create a profile for that individual. And when more than one of those clumps come together, it means that it can create a association between one individual and another individual and that means that it doesn't really need to look into your private content. It doesn't do that, but it doesn't need to now, because it's able to see what locations you visit, sensitive locations, your romantic interests, whoever you spend time with. And that can be incredibly dangerous, as we see here with these historically documented misuses. Currently, this is tracked by the Institute of Justice. 149 incidents across the country have been tracked. In New Bedford, Massachusetts, Officer Emily Pacheco found using stock cameras to stalk her ex after her ex-girlfriend filed for an abuse prevention order. In Kansas, Lieutenant Victor Hayer pleaded guilty to computer crime and stalking after using flock cameras to track his estranged wife. In California, Flock sent 1,427 alerts to Roseville police over 2 years, flagging cars as stolen or used in a felony. In 71% of them, the cameras read the plates incorrectly. And that just shows that even this technology isn't perfect and is trying to be used as something that's foolproof in courts, which makes it extremely dangerous. In California, again, Robert Josset used a flock camera system to track his mistress and her other romantic interests. Josset pleaded guilty to multiple criminal charges in April 2026. In New Mexico, after officers entered incorrect information into the ALPR system, they detained an innocent teenager at gunpoint. In Ohio, after a flock camera misread a 7 as a 2, officers detained an innocent driver at gunpoint, sicked their dog at him, and jailed him for several hours. And in Texas, an officer with the Johnson County Sheriff's Office ran a nationwide flock search for a woman suspected of having an abortion. And there you see where there's a lack of access controls, right? They can go nationwide and search people for crimes just seeking an abortion. Sorry. Okay. And so what I want to do, or what I want you guys to do, that is, if a proposal arises to install ARPR systems, you need to ask these questions earnestly and publicly so that everybody can see them. Are we collecting location data? Are we collecting device identifiers? Are we combining device data with resident profiles? Can we infer visits to sensitive locations? Are we sharing data with other government agencies freely? Is the data necessary for the stated purpose? Do residents understand what is happening? Do we obtain consent where required? Do we retain the data longer than necessary? Do we have strong enough cybersecurity? How can we ensure there will be no misuses? How can we maintain accountability for misuses? And thank you for your time and attention. I hope you take what I've said to heart and listen to it. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was spectacular.
Before you leave the podium, just see if we have any questions. Mr. Murby?
Yeah, so we get to do this. I want to go back to the pride flag, and
Yeah.
What I want to talk about is the governance issue. And if you've watched how town operates, you get to see that there's issues that come up, and as town officials, you got to find answers to those issues that are as fair, as far-reaching, and take as many thoughts into account as you can. And actually, the reason I'm going right there is because I anticipate this fall we're going to be revisiting that issue if things happen the way I anticipate. Here's my question for you. I don't want to debate the pride flag itself. The question I have is, if a pro-life group then comes in and says, we want the town to fly a pro-life banner, what do we do? Do we just, in other words, are you saying this should be sort of an open-ended policy that we'll have a place and we'll put as many flags up as people that want them? Or how do you actually propose to, I'm looking at the governance question,
Yeah.
not the merit question.
Yeah. So with my proposals, it was, we specifically allowed the pride flag to be flown, so we add it into the policy as a flag, or we make it so that the select board has discretion. And when it comes to the pro-life,
So what's the criteria you're using to decide to add something?
Yeah. So when it comes to the pro-life situation, I think within, a debate and back and forth, we have to decide, is this harmful to anybody? Is this ideology harmful to anybody? Or is this supportive, right? Is this something that will benefit an entire people? And with the pro-life and other flags such as that, it comes down to the issue of that this is a stance where, one, our government itself allows abortions. We're not a pro-life government as well.
Okay. Keep going.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
With pro-life, there are very many issues that come to the threat of women's health and reproductive health. And so we have to take into account that promoting this pro-life ideology, these ideas, what does it mean for those who are negatively affected, right? And that issue does not pertain to the Progress Pride flag. The Progress Pride flag is that currently within the makeup of, society within Medfield, within the entire country, within most of the world, people within the LGBTQ community face a harmful stigma, and that breaking down that stigma, which the pride flag should help to do, it will create a lot. It'll make it easier to integrate, make it easier for people to feel as themselves. However, with pro-life, the pro-life flag, it poses a potential harm to women and their reproductive rights and bodily autonomy.
So we're sort of veering into things that aren't really on our agenda, so I think we should be trying to limit this.
I'm just curious about how you answered my question on that one. Can you go back to the second recommendation you had about increasing student involvement?
Yeah.
And my question, you don't have to actually put the slide up, but the thing that intrigued me on that one is, as a student, how would the town sell the idea or the opportunity, however, maybe the opportunity, how does this town sell that opportunity to students to get them to, what would be the thing we could offer that would cause more students actually to want to do that? I don't think we've ever kept students from going to town meetings or
Yeah.
being involved with committees. We haven't had a lot of discussions about students sort of having a non-voting role on committees with an actual sort of semi-responsibility. But what is it that we'd have to offer to students that would attract them to want to be more engaged or more involved with specific committees?
Yeah, I think that within the school, it really comes down to curriculum. And I know that it's very difficult to change curriculum,
Mhm.
but part of it is that in 8th grade civics, there's a part where it talks about the town surrounding
Mhm.
Medfield. And within that, we could mention town government, teach them a little bit about it. On top of that, we could have assemblies within the high school talking about how they can get involved in promoting this.
Mhm.
And then because there is a government class within the high school and certain elective courses that could also serve to help and promote some of these policies.
Some of that might even fall on the school committee side.
Yeah.
I've been struck in the last 2 years, I think all of us have had, I think in my case, at least 3 different students that I was happy to see they were working on projects
Yeah.
to try to improve government, and they were reaching out looking for feedback on their ideas, or that's only started in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I thought that was great, but I think I'm hearing part of that as well, if you could build that more,
Yeah.
almost like an internship, a micro internship
Mhm.
as part of maybe government programs or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think a lot of it goes down to general awareness
Okay.
about the opportunity.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
I thought your
Go ahead.
presentation was fantastic.
Thank you.
You actually, you make me smile because Christine knows that I've been like chirping, like I would love to see the students, the high school students, understand more of what goes on, right? And understand these roles. And when you're 17, 18, getting ready to go to college and you're trying to think, what do I want to do? What is around me? A lot of people gravitate to maybe roles that they've seen their parents in, or a lawyer or doctor, like very up, 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
But what you just did and what you witnessed over the summer, it's just phenomenal. And you were in the ability for you to have the insight to recognize how a town interacts with the state, and then how the town gets some assistance from the federal government. But all of those moving parts I'm gonna assume you're around 18 years old?
Yeah.
Okay, that's I think the beauty of having YouTube and being able to tap into watch these meetings differently than I graduated in '81, and in '81 every so often I'd turn on Medfield TV and I'd see Mr. Ruda or Mr. Reagan or whomever up here, the select board members, selectmen at the time. But that was really the only way. It was one and done, and you didn't get a chance to follow up. So the idea of having a student representative be sitting out there, whether it's every meeting or once a month, but then maybe they look at the YouTubes just to get caught up in what they might have missed. It does start to open people's eyes to, you get people like Mo Goulet, that's a very important job that he has for this town. when I was 18, I didn't understand the moving parts of how a town's highway department is managed. And then you look at Maria or in planning, she's just a brilliant, brilliant individual. And like what roles exist. So everything you just shared, I thank you so much for being here this summer. What you shared was phenomenal. You've definitely given us some things to think about. I think Christine's already started down the path. She has her town administrator newsletter. But maybe it's responsibility for one of the select board members to rotate, to chime in, so that we're giving our view. I mean, I'm going to be holding, community conversations so that I can represent my voice to the people and let them come and talk to me about anything. I did it once this summer, and the topics ranged from state hospital questions, thanks, Gene, to what was happening with the pylons, to what was happening with the roundabout, in a very informal manner. And I think what you bring up is very valid. Like, a lot of people are hesitant and they're busy, and especially with the new school coming, I can see Carolyn out there, and she's gonna be talking about the Dale Street project. The last thing we want, and I know it's gonna happen, but hopefully not in a very large magnitude, is 2 years from now, since this is a 5-year project, I didn't know, nobody shared, I didn't know, like, if we can get ahead of that, and what you're sharing right now is very insightful, that we can try to help with that. So I thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck as you head off to BU. Good luck, and hopefully we're reading about you in the paper in years to come, and we can say we knew you when you were an intern.
Thank you.
So congratulations, that was one impressive presentation, and you're a credit to your family, to your school system, and to your town, I think. So
Thank you.
I was very impressed, so thank you for being our intern. Thank you for that presentation. I had a thought as you were presenting that I think at the beginning of the year, maybe the town should send an email to all of the high school kids at the Medfield High School and list for them all the alerts, because we actually have a lot of push systems that push information out to people, and we could send the sign-up list at the beginning of every school year to every kid in the high school. Then they could sign up and get the town administrator's newsletter, the notice of the different meetings, and the alerts, like when there's a break in a water main or things like that. Thank you. The other thing that I would just mention, your comments about flock reminded me that we actually do have flock here in town.
Montrose.
The town turned it down as a town-wide policy based on the recommendations of the police chief, but Montrose School put up a flock camera, and I noticed it recently, and I think that we have to make sure that that's pointed at the Montrose property and not at the public.
I think there might be 2 of them. If you go to the
There's
flock
2 of
site,
them.
they show
There's
what they
two.
are.
Kazantia.
Yeah.
Could you use a microphone, please? That allows people at home to hear you. Bill hogs it.
I'll get it to you.
I just want to comment, Jerry Kazan, 77 Granite Street. I just want to comment, the Boy Scouts, and I know the Girl Scouts too, we have merit badges, citizenship in the community, nation, world, and we've had scouts do presentations at here, and also they have the opportunity, they've gone to town meetings, and we had the Girl Scouts this last town meeting, so,
Right.
the kids do know, and then where they have to come, they do. Getting them to come voluntarily, that's a good project.
Also, the Eagle projects, if they're doing town projects, that's
Right, they have to come here and present the project for the town, right,
Right.
exactly.
Richard DeSorger used to require his classes
That's right.
to come to town, different board meetings, and so that we used to see them when Richard was teaching at the high school.
Just if I can weigh in a little bit, Nikhil's been great working for us this summer. He wins the award for the best handwriting of anybody I've ever seen in my entire life.
Cursive?
And I think the most interesting thing is, so when we came to you about 2.5 years ago and said we want to start this internship program, and we started off as a pilot, we handed it off to Brittany when, before she got her promotion. One of the things you asked us to do, and we felt as former interns, was that we didn't want to assign somebody at the copier. We didn't want you standing there for 8 hours a day making photocopies. As a former intern, been there, done that. We wanted real life issues, and a lot of the work that all of our interns did this summer were real life problems. The IT budget information that Nikhil put together was then presented by myself to the warrant committee. So we are giving them real
That's
world,
awesome.
real Medfield, I should say not real world, real Medfield issues to work on that they're then taking on. we also had a very open dialogue with all of them all summer, and they gave us a tremendous amount of ideas, including the high school representative. And I know that Nikhil has been working with Cameron on that,
Good.
and Cameron is formulating the best way to do that. I
Good.
mean, one suggestion is our select board meetings end at 9, but I'll leave you three of you to decide that. But one of the things we talked about was how to get a person interested in coming to our meetings.
Yeah.
And Cameron is working on a presentation based off the work that Nikhil did. So we're learning just as much from our interns
Yes.
as we're giving to them. So I have to say, just an incredible year for our interns. And I know you didn't get to see all of our presentations, but they've all been incredible, and we were just really excited to have them and very sad to see them go.
Thank you.
So thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Nicely done.
Our third appointment is with Marion Benaldi, Chair of the Medfield 375th Parade and Anniversary Committee, to give the parade update. We're having a parade? When did this happen?
About 18 months ago.
Clowns,
for all your work.
Clydesdales.
Okay, so, hi, my name is Marion Benaldi, 2 Causeway Street. I am a member of the 375th Parade and Celebration Committee. My objective in coming here tonight is to give an overview of the parade, offering you and residents some perspective on what the parade is and the committee's mission, and to also celebrate the incredible accomplishments of this volunteer committee. The idea for this parade started in April 2025. Jerry Kazanjian, a member of our committee, had the foresight to see the 375th anniversary approaching and wanted to ensure Medfield was honored appropriately. I was approached shortly after Jerry put the bug in the select board's ear, and from that point on, we were on our way. Our committee formed with Tracy Klink, Molly Sliney, Bob Costello, and Bill Southwick, and our work began. We began by locking down the overall vision of the parade. I've lived in town for 54 years. Jerry has been here almost as long. Molly has been here for over 30, as have Bob and Bill, and Tracy has many ties to Medfield. This town is important to us. We are passionate about it. We have raised our children here. All of our children have gone through the school systems, and our families are rooted in the spirit of Medfield. The parade is to celebrate the heart of Medfield. Free of political or town agenda and free of a singular attitude. The heart of Medfield is heritage and community, and this is our motivation. At our first official meeting, the date of October 17th, 2026 was decided. An old school, a vintage parade, and a celebration was the decided theme. We wanted it to be large, and we wanted it to be something that Medfield had never seen before. We had many meetings with marketing and design teams, and we designed our logo. That was our beginning. We then started reaching out to surrounding towns that had executed similar parades. None of the towns had an anniversary close to 375 years, but their knowledge was beyond helpful. We met with Holliston and Walpole. They opened their financial books to us, and we were surprised by the cost of the parades. Parades of this magnitude cost between $100,000 and $200,000. Both towns suggested that we reach out to state representatives because the state had been offering earmarked dollars for such celebrations. After many meetings with our state representatives, it was determined that due to the current fiscal situation of the state and that we were requesting funds within their budget cycle, we would not receive any funds, unlike the surrounding towns. We had our work cut out for us. At that point, to protect the town and to we reached out to the Medfield Foundation and asked if they would be our fiscal sponsor. We came before the select board and asked that the committee be dissolved from under the purview of the town. This was to protect the town from liability, to give the committee complete control over the parade's vision, and to keep all fundraised dollars separate from town finances. On January 6, 2026, the select board voted to dissolve the committee as an appointed board. We became separate from the town and fully functional as a volunteer board. We started to fundraise. We created a website. We created merchandise that would be sold with proceeds going to the event. We have been working with Medfield TV, the Medfield Insider, and the Hometown Weekly. We have an incredible social media presence. Information about donating, participation deadlines, and general parade overviews have been published many times in each. We have presented at several town organizations. We have sent out 50 different mailings to companies, individuals, and residents. We have made countless phone calls, all about fundraising and participating in the parade. We have had conversations about residents' idea, and we've cleared up false information about the parade being discussed on social media. We have used all of it as fuel and to fine-tune the execution of this event. At this point, I am beyond happy to report that this committee has fundraised over $140,000 for this parade. Thank you. We have 125 donors and sponsors from individuals, families, companies, and corporate organizations. We have received donations ranging from $5 to over $10,000. The support has been humbling, and the ability for this committee to articulate the vision of this parade has been remarkable. To say this is an amazing feat does not do it justice, and this needs to be celebrated and congratulated. The team, then led by Jerry, has been working on the parade participation since July of 2025. Contracts, paperwork, and organizing have been a timeless effort. We have over 58 participants in this parade, from marching bands, honor guards, fire, police, Clydesdale, local groups and organizations, and so much more. The parade is about 2 hours in length. The parade at this point is full and has been since July 10th of 2026. We are beyond excited. All of our hard work has been paid off, and the parade lineup is amazing. We have just started to give a glimpse of the parade participants to the public, but would like to keep most of the parade a surprise for our attendees for that day. So now, why do we have deadline dates? With a parade of this magnitude, that I don't fully believe the public will fully realize how big this is till that day, it brings a lot of things that people wouldn't think of. This committee has been reminded daily that we live in a world of 2026. Within that world, we have to have insurance and public safety measures to ensure that the town and all the attendees are protected. We have worked diligently with an insurance company, Medfield Police, Medfield Fire, and the Medfield DPW. We've had to have conversations about threats, terrorist acts, detours, emergency command centers, and much more. Participation agreements and waivers needed to be signed and approved. The deadline for participant paperwork and the parade lineup was all dictated by all of those entities, as well as the amazing work of this committee and the fact that the parade is full. The size of the beginning of the parade and how the parade disperses at the end needed to be considered. We are full at each location. We've had to turn away many organizations and groups, and we will have to continue to do so. We are, however, looking for volunteers. We need approximately 80 volunteers for October 17th, 2026. There are very specific roles, and although many positions have been filled, we are still looking for more. If anyone is interested, please reach out to the committee via our website. And thank you to all the willing volunteers who have already reached out. Your support is felt more than you will ever know. Our staging area for the parade is the Medfield High School and Middle School, and the school department has very graciously been working with us to move PSAT date locations and to accommodate the inconvenience of moving sport events. The parade needs to be lined up in its entirety so public safety officials can do their job on that day. The insurance company has cleared all participants, and lineups and parade routes have been finalized. The parade route is from the high school. The parade will turn right onto South Street, right onto Pound, left onto Main Street, right onto North, and then it'll end down by the Memorial and Dale Street schools. We anticipate a turnout of up to 10,000 attendees in Medfield on October 17th, 2026. With that comes a lot of challenges that this committee is needed to tackle. Parking is one of many. We have sent notices to all the surrounding neighborhoods regarding the parade to make sure they know about road closures and the potential of parking on side streets that day, and we will continue to send them. We have received permission from the school department to allow parking at Wheelock, and we have reached out to Medfield Youth Soccer to make sure that the parking will be cleared for that day and no games will interfere. We have hired a parking company with shuttle buses to drop off attendees into the center of town. Handicap parking at Wheelock will be offered, and golf cart shuttles will be available at any drop-off location for anybody that needs it. These shuttle buses will run all day to drop off attendees in the center of town and get them back to their cars when they're ready to leave. We've rented many porta potties They will be located throughout the parade, as well as the staging and disbursement areas. The porta potties have ADA compliance, and hand washing stations will also be available. We have coordinated with the Thomas Upham House to make sure that their residents have a special viewing for the parade that day. We have asked Scott McDermott to work with us as the voice of the parade. Scott will be announcing sponsors and participants in the parade. We have organized sound for the event so that he can be heard. Scott's enthusiasm for working with us has been inspiring, and we were thrilled to have him on board. After the parade, there's the party in the park. We have collaborated with Bell Forge and are working together to ensure that the celebration will continue. There will be bands, food, drink, face painting, sponsor acknowledgement banners, and more. Our hope is that attendees will want to hang out in the center of town, visit our local businesses, and celebrate with their neighbors and meet new friends. I am also happy to announce that Dunkin' is a top sponsor and will be present that day. They will be doing what they call an activation field pop-up. You might have seen them at the Tall Ships or at the Marathon or at the World Cup. They will also be at the Head of the Charles that weekend. They will be doing a pop-up, and they will be advertising our parade on their platform. We are beyond thrilled. This has been something the parade has been working on for a while. I was also contacted by the Boston Globe this weekend regarding the parade. After a conversation, they would like to do an article on the parade and the committee, noting the amazing job the committee has done dotting every I and crossing every T. Be on the lookout for this amazing article that highlights the true heart of Medfield and celebrates this event. In closing, the perspective that I want to leave the public with is that this parade is not like any other parade that has happened in Medfield. This is not a yearly parade. This is not a parade that will last 30 minutes. This is a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation event. This committee has a lot more to do, and it can be very overwhelming. Balancing this with our full-time jobs, our families, and our commitments is tricky. Words of encouragement or support are very welcome. We are in the final push of our hard work. We have to jump many hurdles to get here, and we'll continue to jump many more. We are asking the public to trust us and to look forward to an event that they will not forget. This committee, they're all seated right here. These people organizing the parade and pouring their heart into it deserve praise and the utmost respect and gratitude. I am amazed at every meeting that I am with them. They have worked tirelessly, taken time away from their families, and sacrificed too much to even name for this event and for their love of Medfield. Please celebrate them. And when you see them on October 17th, when you are in awe of the magnitude of this parade and celebration, please take time to thank them for the day and the memories that will stay with you for a lifetime. Thank you for your time.
Awesome.
If you could just stay for a moment. Marion, thank you so much for all your work on this, and committee members, thank you as well. Much appreciate, your town really appreciates what you've done. Mr. Murphy.
This is kind of so big that I don't know that I've got my arms around everything that you're doing. Every time something comes up, I find yet another facet that you're out in front on. So I'm certainly looking forward to the parade. We definitely appreciate all your efforts. And I'm just already, and you're doing a good job of kind of previewing it. So it's like, you know, I'm thinking about it way back in like May or June, which I might not have all on my own. So
Yeah.
you're just doing a great job, and thank you.
Ms. Murphy.
I'm in awe of you guys. When you look at, that's it, right? And knowing just, I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders. I think, you know, you guys, you're volunteering, right? And it's what this town's all about, and it's just so appreciated. And I know you're keeping a lot close to the vest so that the wow factor will ripple through this town. And I can't thank you enough. I'm honored that you guys have stepped up, and I really look forward to the 17th. And anyone who hasn't got garb yet and they want to have that, I know that the website's still up and running. Yes, Trace?
Not yet, it'll be up again.
Up again, okay.
Just one comment. Marion mentioned we need more volunteers. And those are the people who you really need to thank, because they're going to be marching the parade, some of them the marshals. They'll be there early in the morning to check people in. They'll be spending the day working on the parade. They deserve the thanks too. So
Yeah.
if you're out there listening, please volunteer.
Thank you.
www.medfield375thparade.com.
Right.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So
guys.
you do have a, oops, sorry, go ahead. You do have a housekeeping item. Originally, as Marion said, when we first started this endeavor, we thought it would be a town parade, and you didn't need to give yourselves a parade permit. But once we dissolved the committee and they fell under the Medfield Foundation, they actually do need your permission to have a parade. So we should probably check that box this evening.
Don't have to do this?
There's a possibility we don't have
I
to.
tried to do this in executive session. So just a vote to issue a parade permit.
Right, so I'm going to recuse myself as a member of the board of the Medfield Foundation. So
Oh, okay, okay, so, vote,
We don't have a split vote.
vote to issue a parade permit for October 17th, 2026.
Second.
all those in favor,
Aye.
Aye, aye.
recusing himself, Peterson.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated.
I should just say that I was volunteered for.
Voluntold.
And if you want to know the scope of the parade, Molly delivered to me, I've been watching all this, it's been incredible, the work, but Molly delivered to me the binder for the parade, 35 pages.
Wow.
Of instructions. So I don't want to scare anybody. Everybody will have a very clear job on the volunteering, but participation, but that'll give you a very good perspective of what this group has put together.
Thank you, Bob.
Fabulous.
Is there something else, Jerry?
No, any more questions about the parade? Make sure you're there on time. That's all.
All right, Marion's up again.
Thank you so much, guys.
Now you have to put your other hat on.
Change your hat.
Okay. Hi. Marion Benaldi, elected town clerk in Medfield. I just wanted to give you an update on the state primary that is approaching us on Tuesday, September 1st, 2026. Early in-person voting begins at Town Hall this Saturday, which is the 22nd. We're going to be here from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. here in the second floor in this room. An in-person early vote will also be Monday through Friday during Town Hall business hours. Currently, Tracy and I have mailed out 1,400 vote-by-mail ballots. All ballots must be returned to the town hall by the close of polls at 8 p.m. on September the 1st to be counted. Ballots need to be returned here to the town hall. They cannot be brought to the polling location. It kind of defeats the purpose of vote-by-mail. But anyway. The last day to request a vote-by-mail ballot is Tuesday, August 25th. And we encourage all voters to go to the Secretary of State's website to check on their voting status before coming to the polls. And polls will be opened at the COA on September 1st from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then I'll be back here talking about November in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Murphy?
No question.
Ms. Murphy?
I am good, all set, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks very
perfect.
much,
Thank you very
Marion.
much.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you,
work
Marion.
at your day job, too. Our next appointment is with Maurice Goulet, DPW Director, to provide an update on the Pleasant Street sidewalk project, including next steps, and to request the approval of the following, well, not approve the contracts later, I guess.
Yes, they'll be going to the next select board meeting.
Welcome, Mo. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give you an update on the Pleasant Street sidewalk project. As you know, we did get a congressional earmark for that project. It's a $500,000 earmark with a match of 20% from the town. The original plan for that project was to do a sidewalk from the center of town down to Oak Street. Because of the complexity of that project, because of how many households, the water main project that we're looking to do, we had to change the scope of the project to make sure that we get this in time for the congressional earmark. So the scope of the project would be now from Oak Street down to Curve Street on the Metacomet Park side. It'll be a concrete sidewalk with granite curbing. There will be a grass strip. It'll be replacing the sidewalk that's there already. because of the lack of complexity for this project, we're ensured that we're going to make it for the deadline to make sure we use that earmark money. We have to be ready to go out to bid by September of 2027. With that being said, it's because it's a congressional earmark, we have to go through the state Mass DOT design review process. That's the biggest stumbling block for these type of projects. It's nice to get the money, but it's a really long haul for these types of designs. And that's why we had to change the scope. But we want to do the whole project regardless of where we start. We want to do the whole project. So to get this done, we're also looking to see if we can get the Mass DOT design review process to give us some waivers to skip some of the design reviews because of the lack of complexity. So we will be sending, with your approval, we'll be sending a letter to Mass DOT to ask for some design waivers to get past certain stumbling blocks so we don't have to take months and months and months to review because we don't have a lot of time to get this done. So that's why I just wanted to let you know that we did change the scope, but again, for all the right reasons. So, do you have any questions?
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Mr. Murphy?
Just a quick question only,
Sure.
because as you said, this is a straightforward project. It's a sidewalk project.
Yes.
What kind of things does DOT get involved in reviewing the design of a straightforward sidewalk project?
they look-
Like, what are the things you can,
They look at the 25% design, the 75% design, the 100% design, plan specs and estimates. First of all, that's
Yep.
so each review process has to go through right of way, it has to go through transportation, it has to go through all the different departments of Mass DOT. That's what takes the time to get all this back to us after review. So it's not like you give it to them and a week later they all have their comments ready. It takes many months for them to review each and every design stage. And that's why we're looking to bypass some of these, maybe go from 25% right to 100, rather than having to do in-between steps. It's a process no matter what project you do with the state. It does take years to get things done. They're very, and it's a lot more expensive, actually, too, because of that.
and it's my ignorance that caused me to say this, but it seems like for sidewalks, the state should have some sort of a design for a sidewalk that says, look, if you're building it this way, I understand right of way and stuff like that, it's gonna be a variable, but a sidewalk design, there should be some standard state template that says, if this is how you're designing it, then you're using our template, and we can, I would think they wouldn't wanna be in the sidewalk design review business all that much either.
So I will say that because of the congressional earmark money, this is new to Mass DOT to put it through the design process through the state, because it's using congressional federally funds. In a state project, they have a certain criteria that they use. They're trying to use that in these federal funds, which is the federal government saying, yep, go through the state process, but do it our way. And so they had a really kind of a hard time to try to get their system to work with the federal system. So they're doing a little piecemeal work as well.
Thanks, that's all I had.
So I do have a question, because I walk that almost every day.
Okay, go
I thought
ahead.
you gave me the nod, yeah. So I walk it almost every day. So you have an interesting challenge ahead. So Oak to Curve, the first part isn't bad. This is regular sidewalk today. Where it's gonna be tricky, and this is just what happens in Medfield, whether we like it or not, is you're now coming upon the Metacomet Park. And whenever there's a Little League baseball game, which is pretty much almost every night throughout the summer, even though there are signs from Oak to Curve that say no parking on this side, people park anyways. And a lot of people park up on the grass in front of the fence. So
They won't
that
be able
they're-
to do that because of the granite curbing that's going to be installed.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking what you're doing, I'm just stating what's going to happen,
Yeah.
so we don't have people in 9 months say, how did this happen, what? So I don't disagree, if you put curb up there,
Yep.
it is absolutely going to impact the use of the Little League parking lot, because there's limited parking there, and then that's going to narrow the street, because people are gonna wanna park in the street, which means if we ticket, because they're not supposed to be parking on that side, they go on the other side, which is, there's less frontage, because there's a lot of driveways on that side. So it's just, as long as we're going into this with our eyes wide open, that's the reality of it. It is what it is. I applaud that they're going to be crisp sidewalks, and they'll be able to take the beating that area takes, because you guys are phenomenal during snowstorms, because there's such access to schools there. But I think that's just something that we tackle when it's all said and done.
It's, I mean, all these things are to make improvements for mobility. It's pedestrian access, everything. So there is a give and take.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, and I'm not knocking it, I just don't want it to be, how come no one on the select board didn't think about, I know, and I live right there, like, that is literally how I walk my dog out of my driveway, take a left, and I'm on Pleasant, right? So I go up and down there almost every day, and we need it. Like, so I'm not knocking what you're doing, I think making that clean, so like, there was almost a high school kid hit a few years back, because kids used to park along that grassy strip, and then they'd come out, and there was a beautiful new crosswalk that was put in a few years ago, but it was getting blocked. So you're trying to drive down that street, and you can't see who's coming and going. So if you're going to force safer parking, safer pedestrian ways, outstanding, no issues.
Thank you.
All set.
Thank you, Mo, for your report, and thank you for getting it moving. I know that when I talked to Congressman Auchincloss the last time, he expressly asked about this and was concerned that it get done.
Right.
So I'm hoping that you'll get back to the congressman and let him know that this is moving now, so.
Yeah, we've been in touch with their people and the state people to know that we're coming in front of the select board tonight just to make sure you're good with what our proposal is, so that we can get back to them, get the contract signed, and then move forward with the project.
Can I ask one more quick question? You made me think of this just then.
Sure.
So I know you and I spoke probably like 4 or 5 months ago, because Pleasant Street itself, where you have your manhole, your drains,
Mhm.
that's all just getting soft. Is that part of why if you tackle the sidewalks, it means you have to tackle the
Drainage as
drain,
well.
and it's a lot more
Right.
than 500,000.
Yeah,
So-
well, to do the sidewalk, we would do some drainage improvements with this new sidewalk,
Yeah,
but won't be as intense as it is further up towards the center of town.
yeah,
And then when we do the water main project, we're gonna take everything in consideration and not be under the state design review process
Got
for that part of it, because we're not using congressional funds.
got it. And is there any chance you might have to take down some trees as you go along? Because there are some trees that roots come right up underneath the sidewalk today?
It would have to be surveyed, and then that decision would have to be made at that time.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
Appreciate your work.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, I think we have a question in the audience.
Sure.
Hi. Pleasant Street is really in bad condition, as we all know, the street itself. What plans does the town have to get Pleasant Street and Curve Street repaved?
So right now, talking with our highway operations manager, actually yesterday, they're gonna do some improvements, just some paving improvements to get through the winter. But as far as Pleasant Street right now, we are looking at a water main replacement project. We don't want to pave the road yet.
Right.
Because it's going to be ripped up in the next couple of years. That whole section would be water main replaced for Pleasant Court. Pleasant Street will all be replaced as one of our projects that we're looking at for water main replacements. Once that happens, sidewalk and roadway work will be designed to after the water main project is in. So it's different funds, it's different project. The water and sewer board, we'll be paying out of capital, out of a borrowing, and then the roadway work would come out of our Chapter 90 roadway projects.
And that won't interfere with the new sidewalk and curbing, right?
No, that's why we're trying to do that section, because we do have the water main project coming in, less laterals that to connect. You got the park, you've got the apartment buildings,
Yep.
so there's only a certain amount of water service lines that would have to go through.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's just a comment online that Metacomet Park has trees along the current sidewalk. Please maintain those trees if
We'll
possible.
do our best.
Some one we just planted. I know, I did that one with you 2 winters ago, so
Exactly.
I'm pretty certain that one's not coming down. Thank you.
Thanks, Mo.
Okay, thank you.
Our next appointment is with Carolyn Casey, co-chair of the School Building Committee, to provide an update and request the Select Board to sign the designer contract with Feingold Alexander Architects for the Dale Street Elementary School project. Welcome, and thank you for your work. And thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you. I'm Carolyn Casey, 29 South Street, co-chair of the School Building Committee. I'm going to apologize right now. I got a cough that will not stop. So if I start going down, Eileen can fill in for me because she's on the School Building Committee. So there's two things we're asking of you guys tonight. One is to sign the designer contract, and I'll explain where we are with that. And the second is that you do have an opening for the School Building Committee, and 2 people have put in resumes, so it'd be lovely if one of them could be appointed, because it's important for us to have the 12 members, because we have an 8-person quorum by law, so it's hard when people get busy or people get sick for me to get 8 people. So we're in a very exciting moment here because we have a designer. So just to quickly tell everyone the process, there were 7 submissions from designer companies. And as part of the MSBA process, you just heard about how the state takes its time. We're in the MSBA process, so you have to follow all their rules. We met in early July, and there's a number of MSBA panelists, and there were 3 Medfield panelists. Myself, Bill Warner, who's a co-chair of the School Building Committee, and Michelle Kirkby, who's the chair of the School Committee. And we all discussed the submissions, and everyone got to say their pros and cons and talk about it. And then we took a vote. You vote 3 points for your number 1 submission, 2 points for the second place, 3 points for the top, 2 for the second, and 1 for the third place. And then at the end, it turned out that we had 3 companies that were in the top. You can sometimes only interview 2, but we had 3. So on July 28th, we had another big meeting with the MSBA, and the 3 top companies, which were Miller, Dyer, Spears, Feingold, Alexander Architects, and Raymond Design Architects. They were the.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
You can.
Mike, we have a request. Can you put the camera on Carolyn so people can see her speaking at home?
Sure.
Thank you. Sorry.
Great.
No pressure.
You could have just left that all out. I was fine with that.
I have requests from your fans. Yeah.
So the 3 finalists, they get interview questions. We write 5 interview questions. They have 2 weeks to prepare. And then during the interviews, they each take a turn presenting their answers to the questions. And then all the panelists have the opportunity to ask questions. And then when all the interviews are done, then the companies are silent. And the panelists talk about what they saw, and they get to list pros and cons of the companies, and you can put in a plug for a company or say this company made you uncomfortable, whatever the case can be. And then we did the same thing we did the first time around, is we voted. And the 2 top teams were very close. Feingold Alexander Architects was in first place with 33 points, and Miller's Dyer's Spears was, I think, 31 points. Yeah, and I don't remember the score for the third team, but there was a big gap in difference.
27 or 24, something like that as well.
Yeah. So how the MSBA works is once you know the first place, your town begins negotiating with the first place. And our negotiations are led by our OPM, Jeff D'Amico, who's been with us for about 4 months now. And for those who don't know him, he actually lives in Medfield, which is an extra bonus. He did a great job negotiating. The contract is there for you to see. We are within the $1.5 million budget that we had for the feasibility study, and we've left some money in the budget for things that we're going to need over the next 2 years. So the School Building Committee approved the contract, and then the final step is you guys. And we're off to the races. I want to just warn everybody. We are now on a really fast track pending approval tonight. Our goal is by December 9th to have a couple of options for the Dale Street property. That's like 4 months, December 9th. So we need people really listening and offering their thoughts and coming to meetings and letting us know so that the designs we come up with are designs that have the things that we all can vote on. Then we will present those designs to the MSBA, and if they think everything is fine where we are, then we come back and we need to narrow down those few designs to one design. And that we hope to have done by April of 2027. So that's just a few months after December. And then if we get to a design we all can agree on and we feel that it's going to be a yay vote, then we start, the designer starts making out all the details and specs for it. And in December of 2027, they present that to the MSBA and say, here's the final design, here's what we think it will cost, here's what the town wants. And the MSBA has to approve it. And they might want to change or say something, but we need their approval. And if they approve it, then we would be looking at a special town meeting in February of 2028, where we would ask the town for the money for that design. And there's always 2 ways we have to vote for this kind of project. It would be a town meeting vote, we'd need a 2/3, and then we'd need a paper ballot, simple majority. So that is kind of where we are and where we're going. And the next few months are going to be really busy. We're going to be meeting at least twice a month as a committee. We're going to do 3 or 4 community forums. We're going to do working groups. You can reach out to anybody on the committee at any time. But community participation right now is crucial. It would be really hard if someone said, I don't know what you're building, and we're voting. You know, we need you to know, we need you to help. Talk to us about it. Questions? What
Thank
did
you.
I miss?
Mr. Burby.
Two, both are context questions. They're not critical about the fundamental direction. If I recall correctly, or if I read correctly, I think Chris Potts in Medfield Insider had reported that in the voting that the first place architectural firm that the town chose with only 3 votes was not the one. So it sounded from the report that we had a first choice for an architect, but the MSBA overrode it. I'm just asking,
Yeah.
A, is that the way you described it? I'm not even sure if that's totally accurate, but
Yeah. Let
was
me just
there anything
explain
critical?
that.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
So, yes, it is true that myself and Bill and Michelle, which we're not allowed to talk to each other, by the way, outside of the meeting. We can only go to the MSBA meeting and vote. So we don't know how each other's going to vote. But I did speak up and say that MDS was my first choice before we all voted, because you're allowed to say that. Bill said he was fine with either Feingold or MDS. And Michelle said the same as Bill. There were many members on the MSBA board who were supportive of Feingold and spoke up and said that they were supportive of that. So yes, we did all have that company first, but all of us were comfortable with either one of those two. We really were.
Did the MSBA, I'm just curious, did the MSBA provide any insight into why they were so enthusiastic about Feingold?
So the three or four people who spoke, what I remember is they know that we have an historic property and we're looking at a completely new build or an addition renovation. And they felt that Feingold had some very good examples of historic properties that they have recently done. And so that was mentioned a couple of times.
And the only other question I had, when we were getting ready for the second project, there's been talk about the money that went in up front for the prior project, where we spent $1 million on that, some part of that hopefully would be leverageable. The total cost here is below $1 million, so it's less than we put there. But I'm just curious how transferable the stuff we did in the past, how much did we get to reuse? And maybe some of the stuff that we get to reuse, we haven't even really reused yet. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, so with your approval and FAA gets started, they've asked for certain things and things that we have. But we've also made it clear that it's their job to make sure whatever we have, they're comfortable with and redo it if need be, because it's liability on them. So there are several things we have, and that, like, the educational planning has been done. We're going to tweak it, but that isn't going to take a lot of tweaks. And there has been some studies already on that property because of the last project. So they're going to take some of that, but they're also going to dive a little deeper. And, you know, we don't know yet for sure, but there's a possibility that Park and Rec doesn't want the FAST Center, and that wasn't part of the last project. So that building needs a look at in terms of, well, if you had that space, what would you need to do with the building? So that needs a look.
I'm only chuckling because probably the last time we had a discussion of that, like about the FAF Center, I was arguing for it, and you were talking about why it wasn't practical, and now you're saying, well, we might need to take a look at that. So
So
yeah.
it just depends on Park and Rec. We've been really close contact with them, and so we're gonna have designs that include it in case Park and Rec says they no longer want care and control. But we're gonna have other designs that don't include it, and then we're gonna have ad rental designs and brand new designs. So in terms of, you know, the voting, you know, going into the MSBA that there are more MSBA panel members than there are Medfield. So you know there's a very strong chance that you may not get your first pick. But really, I was a little disappointed, but we're not surprised. And I felt very comfortable with FAA. They're, you know, two top teams with good experiences. You can look and see the schools that they've worked on in Massachusetts, so.
Great. That's my questions.
Yeah, I'm passionately involved in this, and I sat in the panel, so the dialogue, it really was coming down to MSPA and FAA. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like
it
halfway
was.
through, you're like, okay, sadly, the third place
Either
team is
one.
not even in the running.
No.
And then we had a chance, FAA came to our meeting last week, and they're top notch. So it's like, we didn't lose. It's like, it was so close. It wasn't like they trumped our vote by many. It was so close that it's a win-win. The vibe is good. And something I asked Jeff at our meeting last Wednesday was, you know, they sat in there, so they heard that the Medfield people didn't put them at 111, or technically 333. He's like, no, we've already had that discussion. So there's a healthy dialogue of, okay, they didn't pick you for the following reason. It's like, okay, we can overcome that. Like, we can talk to them and let them know if these were their reasons why. We want to make them feel very confident that this decision was the right decision. So,
Yeah.
good dialogue.
And in the few times now I've talked with them, they've been great, really listening, making any changes. So it's been good. It's a good start.
Good.
Pete, any?
No questions. Thank you so much for all you're doing for the town.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's a lot of work to build a school.
It is. I don't know. After hearing about all the parade stuff, I'm like, oh.
While Carolyn is still here, do you want to take out of order the appointment to the SBC so she can leave
That
with a
would
full
make
committee
sense.
tonight?
Do we need, are we approving the contract tonight too?
Oh,
or-
yes, you're also doing that. Yes, doing two of those things.
I thought we were, okay.
Yes,
Good,
yes.
okay.
Take that one up first, please. That's the most important.
All right,
So do we have a motion then about the contract?
so moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then how do we handle the appointment, Chris?
You have one seat to fill, and you received 2 letters of interest.
All right, Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, I started off, probably because the first resume or the first application I read was from Bob Canavan, and I recalled that he had volunteered to be on the original school building committee. So I said, oh, this guy's persistent. He really wants to be on the committee. And I, just because of the sheer persistence, he got credit with me. And then when I turned to the next one, Caitlin Scheck, initially, when she said, I'm a mother with 2 kids, I said, no, I want building discipline here. We're the ones that do the hard-nosed stuff for who's on this committee. And then when I looked at her resume, I was actually highly impressed with, I don't know that she's built schools, but she's got so many projects on her resume that are universities and colleges and complex facilities. I honestly think that she is the more qualified person, and that's if Rob Canavan is listening, with apologies to you, because I do give you credit for your diligence and persistence. When I just looked at it on pure technical grounds, it seemed to me that Caitlin had, as long as I'm getting the Caitlin who operates by her maiden name, as opposed to the mother, I thought she had the stronger qualifications for this kind of a project with the work that she's done. So that's where I would go.
All right,
Rob,
Ms. Merber?
Rob, you're back there, yes? Yes, so just so everyone's aware, Rob is here in the room, and Kate's on.
Kate,
Caitlin's on.
Rob, I've never met you. I only know that I remembered your name, but at least you heard directly from me. I was all set to go.
Yeah, and I recognize you, Rob, because I've sat in a couple of the the Medfield Housing Authority meetings, right? So very familiar with your presence there, and I will say, being on the school building committee, and we go back to one of the changes that people wanted to see in the town is we wanted to make sure everyone felt like they had a seat at the table. So the only thing I will say, and I'm being transparent here, is when I go to the meetings, so I look, and there actually are a lot of people around the table that are older and they don't have kids. So I will say, when I know I'm familiar with Rob, I loved your summary was fantastic. And then when I read Caitlin's, I was like, okay, the fact that we now can potentially have a young parent at the table, because I don't think they're, honestly, on school building committee right now, I think maybe there's high school people with high school kids, but no voice from that sector of the community. And then on top of it, with her experience, what her I'll call her day job is, it did sway me that way. And so, Rob, it's no knock to you. It's just trying to balance the voices. That if we could get a young parent that has, I think she has a first grader and a third grader, and selfishly trying to reach out to the community, there we have another group from a younger tier that can make sure that the parents at Dale, at Wheelock, are in step with what's happening.
So I'm going to push back on you
Okay.
on that, only in the sense that with the way the school building committee was created, the select board's 4 appointees are the appointees who are appointing that has the building experience. That's I'll call it the hard-nosed side, whereas a school committee, I assume, would be between educators and teachers and parents, would be more focused. Now, there's no problem with having somebody who's got the building experience
Yeah.
who also happens to have kids, so
Yeah,
that's not a disqualifying character. But my point is, the piece that I'm looking for, who steps in for our appointments on this building committee, needs to be the people that are going to bring the I call it hard-nosed, but are going to be quicker to understand the true cost implications,
Sure.
are going to be disciplined on the trade-offs. And aside from just me always being the hawk around cost, I would say in the last failed project, the number one reason, if you look at the surveys that were done, the number one reason why that failed was not location. It was cost. And so I wouldn't
Speak for
want to.
yourself.
No, that's the truth. That's the truth.
He's right.
That's the truth.
Only, they're very,
Carolyn, could you just use a microphone if you're going to be.
It's close, let's put it that way. It wasn't in
Sorry,
Syria.
I just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
cost was the number, but location is very close.
That was, yeah.
They're very close.
Those
Just-
two came together and is what caused the coalition to come together to cause the whole thing to fall apart. But the number one reason in everything I've seen on the surveys was cost. And the reason I'm saying that is not to campaign for a cheap school. It's that I wouldn't want to see this project make a similar mistake where there's things that are built in that perhaps didn't belong in there in the first place. And I'm hoping somebody would. So I'm not arguing the benefit of having a mother there.
And I think you
representing-
took my side of it, like, too
Yeah.
strong, that she happens to have a first and third grader. To me, it's just a perk. She
Yeah,
has the
that-
background
that part,
with
right.
safety, and so it's, like, that's just, again, that's just a perk.
We're now back in agreement, okay. Yeah.
So I think on the cost issue, before we had to build for 575 students mandated, and so that this time I think we're planning for a much fewer
460?
cohorts so that we can build a cheaper school because of that. So my reaction, Mr. Canavan, thank you for coming to the meeting. I looked at the credentials that both of you submitted, and I was convinced that Caitlin Schreck had the credentials that would help the committee the most, but thank you very much for volunteering. So any further discussion?
Nope, do you want,
Do we have a motion then?
so moved?
Second?
So move to what?
It's a guy.
To appoint Caitlin Scheck to the School Building Committee on behalf of the Select Board.
And second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So our next item is Heather Lemieux, Capital Strategies, second round of funding for downtown facade improvement
Yep.
project.
Give us a few minutes to get our presentation set up.
Maria, thank you for coming.
She's helping run the presentation.
Okay,
This has quickly become a two-person evening. Okay, let me just I'm making you co-host so that you can share. Okay. Hi, Heather.
Hi everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, Maria's just pulling up your presentation.
Hi Maria.
Yeah.
She is
Share it with that one.
on my screen.
Good evening everyone, and thank you for having me back again, this time to present award recommendations for round 2 of the Downtown Facade Improvement Grant Program. I know the board is familiar with this program, but just as a quick refresher for the public, my name is Heather Lemieux. I work for Capital Strategic Solutions, a consulting firm that was hired to oversee the Facade Improvement and Beautification Program. This program is funded through a state earmark and was created to support exterior improvements that enhance the overall appearance of downtown Medfield. We completed round 1 earlier this summer, and tonight I'm here to present the 4 applications we received in round 2 and our award recommendations. So as I said, we received 4 applications, and they were reviewed using the same eligibility checklist and evaluation scoring sheet as round 1. I'll go through each project and then the overall funding recommendations. Before scoring, for the eligibility, we first confirmed that each project met the basic program eligibility requirements. That includes being within the program downtown area, projects that are visible from a public way, are permanent in nature, and are able to be completed by October 1st, and that's keeping in mind the 375th anniversary parade. All 4 projects met the eligibility requirements. The program allows for a pretty broad range of exterior improvements that includes storefronts and signage, windows and doors, lighting, architectural features, masonry, walkways, and permanent landscaping. You'll see several of those types of improvements represented in these applications. The first, and that again, this is the scoring criteria, is visual impact was 20 points, economic impact 20 points, project readiness 20 points, that it was ready for the parade 20 points, and design quality for overall 100 points. The first application is First Parish Unitarian Church at 26 North Street. This is a highly visible historic landmark along the primary downtown corridor. Because of its location and prominence, improvements here have a strong visual impact. The proposed work includes repairing and repainting the front and west facades and replacing the deteriorated front steps. The total project cost is about $37,400. That request was originally $20,000. The second project is Medfield Community Cable Access Corporation at 18 North Meadows Road. This is along Route 27 and is part of the plaza where we funded improvements in round 1. This project would complement the other improvements already being made to the plaza. This is a smaller project with a request of about $3,266. It includes a permanent enclosed community bulletin board, matching exterior lighting, and new window and door graphics. The relatively small investment provides some visible improvements to the storefront. The third project is Zulu Gallery, which is a very prominent downtown location. They received $20,000 in round one toward a larger $29,000 improvement project. This round two request is to complete the entire project, so for the additional $9,000 needed. This will cover the remaining signage and bunting and a portion of the exterior electrical work. And this would allow them to complete the improvements that were partially funded through round one. The third project is Medfield Crossing, and so the final project, fourth. This plaza has 12 businesses and sits along one of the primary corridors leading into the downtown area. They also received round one funding for landscaping, awning replacement, and sidewalk repairs. Their round two request is $13,383.70. This is specifically for replacing a severely deteriorated wooden storefront door with a more durable steel frame glass door. It addresses the condition of the existing door while also improving the storefront appearance. In this photo, if you can go back to that last slide.
Which store was that one? Which store is that one?
This one,
Is that going into the dentist's office and where?
access to upstairs at the end.
Oh, okay.
Medfield Crossing LLC, 18, is that where the Medfield Meadows dentist is in that whole area? Is that what that's?
No, that's on the other side of the street.
It's next to Medfield TV, I think.
Right,
Okay.
it's that plaza.
It's still at Plaza, okay.
Been here 30 years and I still couldn't picture that door.
There's a second floor at the northerly end with offices on it.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
shows, it's showing actually the cable TV door as the type of door that's going to be installed. So both functional improvement and aesthetic one that matches the architectural style of the other storefronts.
Oh, okay.
So based on our review, all 4 applications are recommended for funding. As the board requested at the meeting in June after round 1 awards, the recommendations reflect preference to projects that did not receive funding in the first round, and then awards funding to the projects requesting additional funding. So this is in order of that preference order. First Parish and the Medfield Cable scored 90 points out of 100, Zulu scored 100, and Medfield Crossing scored 80 out of 100. The recommended awards collectively used the remaining round 2 funding out of the $120,000 earmark that was awarded to the town. For First Parish, I'm recommending $32,663.28, which is above their original $20,000 request in round 2 and allows us to direct the remaining available funds toward the larger, highly visible project. This project. Funding summary is there was $120,000 available for grants at the beginning of this program. The board awarded projects totaling $61,687 in round 1, leaving just over $58,000 in round 2, and this total in round 2 is $58,313.02, and this would allocate all the available grant funding. What I'm asking the board tonight to is vote on these board recommendations, and we would move forward with executing grant agreements in August to these 4 entities.
Thank you, Heather. Questions, Mr. Murphy?
Just, I think, first off, I was doing the math, and did we use it all up? And we did, so I was glad to see that. Pete, I think you and I just want to bring up something to confirm my memory and to have a conversation about something. Several years ago, I think it was before you were on the board, Eileen, the Unitarian Church had come to the town asking for some help with some of the repair work to their church. At the time, and there's a rationale for that, there's a historic connection, but I think also the fact that the Meeting House Pond land is routinely, nobody puts a boundary line on it, the fact the Historical Society uses it. There are a lot of rationales for why that church in particular contributes to the town in ways that have always been meaningful. At the time, we didn't do it because of the issue, sort of separation of church and state. We didn't think it was appropriate for the town to put money into the church. This is, I'm having a conversation here, and if anybody disagrees with me, but just to flesh this out. This one's different because, first off, we're not taking taxpayer money to simply repair a church. What we're doing is we have grant funds that are intended to kind of improve the overall economic vitality of the town. The money is going to private property of all different types. And therefore, in this particular circumstance, it's appropriate for us to allocate this money for the church because of the funding source, the purpose it's for, where we made a decision in one direction 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, where this is technically a decision in another direction, but the circumstances are different, so it makes sense.
Correct. This is not a violation of the anti-aid amendment,
Yeah.
which we could not do when they first came to us for that participation.
I figure it's worth
Yep.
capturing that on a
Nope.
video in case anybody
If
wants.
you didn't have the conversation, I was going to have the
Okay.
conversation, so.
And this clearly seems to fall within the parameters of this grant for visible from the street, and I mean, this is
Yeah.
Correct.
upgrading the streetscape, so.
Interesting that we're doing this and we're having the party at the end of the 375th parade right there. so
Right
all
there,
the
yeah.
words.
You took the words out of my
Wanna
mouth
do
on that one, yeah.
It's a very small town.
Yeah, and I think you explained this, Heather, there were no other applications that got turned down, right? Everybody that came and got, okay,
Correct.
okay, that's all.
Yes. And that was another point to make, to add on to your point, that anyone was available, anyone in this downtown area was available to apply.
Okay,
So there's, if someone brought up
okay,
just this church, out of different churches in that area,
okay,
receive
great,
funding.
thank
They
you.
have to be part of that downtown eligibility.
Ms. Murphy?
I appreciate, I'm glad we did the second round. I think that worked out great. I support everything you just shared with us tonight. And the fact that, some of these folks will try to get it done if they can before the 375th would be fantastic. But thank you so much. It was super helpful.
I think that's a great result from the second round, and I support them all. I'm glad that we've used up the monies, and I think those are excellent choices, so.
Yeah.
I don't know that they can get done by October 1, but we'll see. Do we have a motion?
We have a motion to approve the, how do we want to phrase that? The grant money for the facial,
I would say as presented by Heather this evening.
okay?
In
As
the
presented by
presentation.
Heather this evening, we approve the funding for downtown facade, all four funding of the downtown facade improvement project.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Heather.
much. Good to see everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Heather.
Our next appointment is with Jean Minio to request permission for the holiday stroll on Friday night, December 4th.
Be here before you know it.
You're all done. You don't have to stay.
You're going to
Thank
tell us
you.
anything about it, Jean, or do you think we know what a holiday stroll is at this point?
Thank you, yeah. We talked about moving it to Saturday, but the artists have a lot more options on Saturday for other
So instead of
events.
doing the Friday night stroll, do a Saturday night stroll.
Well, we considered that.
Yeah.
But we got so much pushback from the artists.
And the parade will be on Saturday. They're going to come in and request that permission from you. Yes.
So will the parade be at night or they?
No, the parade will be during the day, but then the tree lighting, I believe, will be in the evening.
Okay.
But it's the day after the holiday stroll?
Yes. The holiday stroll will now be
Focus
just
100%
the
on
artists.
arts and food
yeah.
and whatever. Okay, all right.
So Baxter Park won't be used?
Not on Friday night.
I got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we may provide entertainment, it just probably won't be there.
Right, well, yeah, what I was
Church
getting at
or
is if there
something.
was major stuff going on at Baxter Park, but the
Right.
trees not lit didn't seem like a great thing, but.
No, so we usually do
Barriers?
the barriers, we'll do those for Saturday night and the extra lighting versus Friday night.
So Friday night, no barriers, just walking down the street and it'll be all things inside, or will you have some stuff outside?
Last year we had a light display that was outside in the Bank of America parking lot. We'd probably bring something like that back again, but keep it all on the same side of 109.
Interesting,
And
okay.
the street stays open
Street stays open.
until Saturday night.
Then we have to have a discussion about Saturday night.
Interesting.
If we did that, if we did do that and close, if we close it on Saturday night's probably less disruptive to traffic than Friday night
Yes.
when it starts getting dark. So
Yep.
that's probably might be an improvement.
Okay, hey, look, if you guys want to do that, I'm not opposed to it.
Thank you.
Anything further?
No,
Anything?
All right, I'm good.
I'm good too.
I am too.
Thank you.
All right.
Wanna
Do we have a
vote, or-
motion then?
Yeah, motion to approve the request for holiday stroll on Friday, December 4th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Gene.
Next item is a discussion item, Medfield State Hospital hours open to the public. Ms. Murphy, I think you put this on the agenda?
I did, only because I've been getting asked by a lot of residents what's going on, because they're not seeing construction to the magnitude that was going on in the April-May timeframe. But in talking with Christine, what is happening, even though we're not seeing it, so this is a conversation to the public, you're not seeing the activity as much as you were, but we do know that the trucks are starting early in the morning, coming off the property, and then coming back later in the day to park up there. You've got people working on Belforge, so the quad is still pretty active with contractors' cars being parked up there, the contract equipment being up there. So the question had been asked is, had we wiped out, so it was open 7 days a week, dusk to dawn, and in talking with Christine, we still are liable if somebody was to get biffed up there, so keeping it
Yeah.
after 4, when we know the trucks have moved on.
So the last vote the select board took was to open the property weekdays, 4 PM until dusk, and then open on the weekends. We still have construction vehicles leaving in the morning and coming. We're using that as the staging area for Woodall to do the intersections. In addition to that, in the not too far future, we're also going to start phase 2 of the construction, which is to bring utilities, and we'll be doing some work on site as well. And then you'll see big machinery back on site to connect Belforge to those new utility lines. So there will be some additional construction happening on the campus in the future.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to leave it the way it is or change it, but there are vehicles coming in and out. They usually wind up their construction around 3 o'clock, so that's why we had used 4 o'clock, as there shouldn't be any big machinery driving through there.
So if somebody goes up there, in theory, they are trespassing. So if
If-
we're not having the police there the way we had early on, but what we're saying right now is it's, at least if we agree with this tonight, that it's still, we're leaving it at 4 to dusk, and then weekends open. dusk to-
That's what it is now, unless you make a change tonight, that's what it is. I think we did ask people to, if they were going to be up there during the day, to use the north field in the back, and to not park in the front part of the campus. So, I think that the north field is less an issue than the actual campus of the site.
So this is me testing my memory on details here. In my head, at least, it seemed to me that the construction, first off, I think the bottom line is, when there's construction up there, we don't want to get into philosophical discussions. Like, no, we close down what has to be closed down, so I'm not arguing in that direction. If I recall, the construction projects that were up there on the campus were supposed to be closing out by the end of August?
That's the phase 1 we finished, except for the intersections.
Right.
And those should be closed out. That'll be pushed out because we're going to make some changes to the roundabout that's under design now. So that'll probably be closer to the end of September, beginning of October, for them
Okay.
to be finished on the intersections.
But those are the intersections. I'm not
Those are
too
the
worried
intersections.
about them.
Well, that's just because they're moving their vehicles as their staging area up there. And
But
then,
if they're if they're simply using that as a staging area, we're not talking about trucks going up, hauling things off, dropping them down. There's probably, we might be able to be more liberal about when people can do things. If the only thing that's being used for is a parking spot, you
Yeah.
could tell people they can't use the front lot or whatever.
Yeah, there's just they'll be
Okay.
taking their big machinery through there, and people need to be cognizant of that.
So just for argument's sake here, let's say that all that activity is supposed to wind down by September, and the stuff that lingers up there, as far as construction equipment is, construction equipment being marshaled there as part of the intersections. So we just need to make sure that people are separate from that. There's then a gap, but now what you're saying is, but then the next phase will start up. What's the time frame between kind of the closeout of the phase one in terms of activity, and might include your stuff, Gene? What's the time between when those things close out to where we no longer have a reason to keep people off the campus for on-campus construction versus the time when we again will need to have people not on campus because of on-campus construction?
So we're just getting ready to go out to bid for the phase 2 part of that. So I don't have a timeline, but I would assume they're gonna start to do some of that work over the winter. But I don't know how busy they'll be over the winter. I can get an update at our Trinity meeting this week.
Given that we've
Yep.
sort of trained the public about what it's like when we shut things down when it's necessary, I would be inclined to say if there's a period of time when it's not necessary, that we don't just say, well, we don't trust you guys, so you can't use it. But then when it comes time again, we say we have to impose the same restrictions that we had. That way the public understands we're not just doing it to mess around with them. We're doing it when it's necessary. If we tell you it's necessary, stay off and expect enforcement if you don't. But when we're not doing that, we're back in the old mode that says we'd like the public to be able to take as much advantage of the property as we can.
So if you go down that train of thought,
Yep.
because the only thing I'm thinking right now is protecting the town and the town's safety, right? If anyone gets hurt, they're coming to us. So I think if what I'm hearing you say, Gus, is we are hoping people use common sense. If they see a truck coming at them, don't challenge it. If they're taking their dogs, make sure they're going to the far back where we know nothing is going on. By leaving it at 4, the only thing we're saying is we're not encouraging anyone to be going up there when we know there may be moving trucks. And even though it's early in the morning and later in the afternoon, I'm not opposed to hearing what you're saying, which is, can we treat people like adults and say, if you want to go up there at 6 in the morning and walk your dogs in the backfield, great. If you want to be up there throughout the day, take advantage of the nice fall weather, yes, but be cautious. We still know that there are activities that may bring trucks back and forth. Gene's folks are still up there. They're using the access roads to get to the quad. So we don't know on any given day when a lumber company may be coming, a cement company may be coming. So it's just the caution of, if somebody does something stupid and they don't take ownership on themselves, they're gonna flip it back to the town.
Well, yeah, so let me be a little more precise on what I was getting at. I'm saying we keep people off, we keep the rules in place as long as there is construction activity up on the campus. Well, that would include what you're doing, Gene. So if you're saying, well, we're just going and we're straight through, and by the time, the phase 2 starts, and we'll have been working the whole time, that's different. Then I think we keep it closed, stick with the same rules we have. If the only reason we're saying we might stick with the same rules is because construction equipment is parked up there when they're not doing work on the intersection, and they will pull construction equipment off to get to the intersection to finish off that work, I'm saying if it's feasible, to say the construction equipment is only parked on the front parking lot, we tell people you have to stay off the parking lot. In fact, maybe you never get to use that parking lot, but we can keep the campus open as long as there's no construction activity on the campus when we're opening it. See
So
what I'm saying?
do you mind grabbing a mic, Gene, because I want to ask you a question. So what is happening day in and day out right now in the quad with Belforge?
So they've remediated the second building. They've dug the pit for the connector in between the two buildings. They dug out the chapel basement and lowered the floor. They've got elevator pits in there. They're actually moving very quickly.
And so there are people up there right now. You're not on hold waiting for the next lump sum of money. You're continuing, like Monday, they're there, Tuesday, they're there.
Yeah, they usually get there before 7 and they're gone. They demobilize around 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 4 o'clock limit works. I guess the
Yep.
question I think you're getting at, and I was getting at what point in time will that activity just kind of go away? When will you be finished, I guess is.
We will open in October of '27.
And now, will you be doing construction for the next 15 months, or is
Yes.
there? Okay, okay, then,
Well, and phase two, for us, we're doing all of the utility connections to Belforge. Phase three is going to start in January of '28 with the construction of all the roadways, and I think we're in a period of construction. There's gonna
if it's
be a-
continuous, so
Yeah, I think
all
it's
I
gonna
was
be
saying
continuous.
originally is if it's not continuous in construction, and there's a period of time when we don't have to have it restricted,
Mm-hmm.
don't restrict it. What I think you're saying is, well, whatever the gap might be between phase 1 and phase 2, your site is going to be active. I don't even care if it's not highly active. I'm saying it's still a construction site.
Yeah, there is a fence though, but I'm up there several times during the week and there's always people walking in the quad.
Inside the fence?
Not inside our construction
But up
fence,
at the
but
quad.
walking inside the quad. Yeah,
Because that's actually our intention, was not even to have that happen.
well, they're there.
So I will say, for people that I know do walk up there, that's why they ask me, I'm like, that's why I put it on the agenda. I'm like, I don't even know what the true status is right now, is that the amount of people that are walking at the state hospital has dropped dramatically. So by shutting it down the way we did, people have redirected and gone elsewhere. In an ideal world, it would be nice to say, if you want to use it during the day, go to the back, park in the back, don't go anywhere near the front. The only time the front really is open is on the weekends, and when there's Belforge events. If we could make that type of statement that says, people,
Northfield only.
what's that?
The Northfield only.
The Northfield only, right? And there's so many ways to get to the Northfield. You can park and come across from the sledding hill. You can park, if there are people from Dover that come through the back of Dover High School. There's ways to get back there, so that's why I think you're seeing people. They're not flagrantly trying to break the rules. But I haven't been up there. Are the roads even manageable in the back portion near the paint shop? Those were massive potholes a couple weeks back. I don't know how bad they are
potholes
now.
up
It's on the DPW's. If they haven't gotten to it already, I know I put it on the DPW list of things to work on.
So if we allow people to use the north parking lot, which I think we're willing to allow them to use, we're
On the way back,
encouraging
yeah.
people to use the north field. But as a practical matter, if people park at the north parking lot, even if, there might be a few people that come in on the, by the River Road and then cut there. As a practical matter, if they're parking in the north parking lot, you're gonna get the quad walkers that you're seeing. Because they're gonna say, well, I don't want my dog off. I don't want my dog running around with dogs that are off leash. I want dogs that are leashed. So they're gonna be on the quad. My question is, Gene, from your standpoint, is that presenting a safety problem? We were having a safety problem when we first got into this business several months ago. You've kind of got a fenced-in area in construction, and the construction trucks are going to be coming from the hospital roadside. They're not going to be looping around.
Correct.
Is it actually and the fact, that, to your point about, and there are fewer dog walkers because we have restricted it a little bit, so that says maybe we leave it there just for that reason alone. Is it a major problem if people kind of do what they do on the north side of the quad? We don't necessarily announce the quad's open, but there's not a major problem with the way things are working right now.
None.
And maybe we do
Good
just.
argument to leave it the way it is.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Keep it the way it is.
Anything further?
We can put out a reminder that those are the current hours.
Good.
And if they can access the backfield, they can access the backfield. We're just not looking to have cars up there.
And as a practical matter, we're not policing the quad to make sure nobody uses it in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
We're just not advertising.
Okay, our next item is, we're moving on to action items. Number 12, finalized charter for the Senior Tax Relief Committee. Any edits or suggestions for that, Mr. Murby?
I think this incorporated my update, so this was kind of the direction I thought we needed to go.
Ms. Murphy?
No, I think it looks good.
I'm fine with it. Do we have a motion then?
Motion to accept the final version for the charter for the Senior Tax Relief Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board committee appointments, resignations. A, accept the resignation of Paul Fetchel-Cotter from the Medfield Energy Committee. Paul's moving to Millis. He'll be a big loss to the Energy Committee because he's been a huge participant. Appoint Stacy, can we do these all together?
I think you can do one vote to accept them all, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And second one is appoint Stacy Yekel to the tenant representative of the Medfield Housing Authority for a 5-year appointment. Appoint Neil Sanders and Catherine White and Lester Starr to the committee to study senior tax relief as,
Lanny Star?
his real name is Lester.
It came in as Lanny. That's, his email to us came in. I had him on as Lester, but his email to us came as Lanny.
You guys, he goes by Lanny, but it is Lester, yes.
Yeah.
I talked, asked
To
him
the
that.
committee to study senior tax relief as citizens at large. D is accept the resignation of John Thompson from the Dog Control Bylaw Committee. E, appoint one school
We
building
did already.
committee member to the select board. We did that already.
So you're just doing A through D.
And so do we have a motion to,
A motion to, a vote to accept the board committee appointments and resignations as read.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye.
Our next item is a vote to sign the change order for the landfill closure engineering services with Apex Engineering Services for $15,000. Any questions?
This actually might be a good time for me to give you an update on this as well.
Thank you.
So the reason for the change order is we did not anticipate the amount of time it has taken to recreate the files for DEP for review of the closure of the state hospital. Apex has been fantastic, as well as our outside environmental counsel on getting us in front of DEP. We did actually just receive an email from them a couple of days ago. We've sent them several letters asking for the status update now that we've given them everything they requested from us, and they told us that we should be hearing from them within the next 10 days. Obviously, everybody's on vacation in August, so there's been a little delay. But again, this is the farthest we've ever gotten in our discussions with DEP, so we are moving forward on this.
In the if I remember the document that we had in the packet, this is also an extension of the period of performance.
Yes.
Anything further?
Nope.
Yeah.
Motion?
Vote to sign the change order for the landfill closure engineering services with Apex Engineering for $15,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 15, vote to accept the grant and authorize the town administrator to sign the contract with MAPC to update the town's hazardous mitigation plan in accordance with MEMA and FEMA requirements using $30,000 in grant funding.
And I would just point out the end date is 6/30/27.
Yep, and this is just a two-part. You're accepting the $30,000 grant that the fire chief and Maria applied for, and then you're authorizing me to sign the contract utilizing that $30,000 with MAPC to update that plan. So just a two-parter on that.
Okay.
Do we have
With a single vote.
With a single vote.
Okay.
Motion. Yeah, so moved.
We have a
Second.
motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 16, update the status of the solid waste contract negotiations and the intermunicipal agreement, IMA, between the town of Walpole and the town of Medfield, and vote to sign the agreement.
So this was back in March. You had given me preliminary authority to sign the IMA. That was not finalized and went back for another round of negotiations. There has been some minor changes to the contract, some minor changes to the IMA that you saw back in March. I didn't want to sign it without you being aware of that. Essentially, the main change was that once all the municipalities sign it, it becomes effective immediately. And then it just clarified the cost-sharing formula and how it would be delegated to all of the towns. I did talk to Needham, and Needham signed it 2 weeks ago, and we are one of the last to sign it, based on our meeting schedule.
And to be clear, this is the contract that captures the agreement we have, intermunicipal agreement. We will then also sign a
winning
separate
contract,
contract
yep.
on it for our town that reflects the terms and conditions that Walpole's legal representative is negotiating.
Correct. There's a consortium of towns who are negotiating together to achieve a better rate.
Do we have an estimated cost to what this will cost us?
We do not yet. I believe that there was some language put in, Mark may know because I believe Franklin was included in this as well, that there was a movement that it not exceed $75,000 split amongst the towns without coming back to the towns for that. I believe that while that was not approved as part of the IMA, that is a item that everybody is in clear agreement on. We would need some notification, so.
Okay.
Great.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
So you're just reauthorizing me to sign it.
Did we vote that one? Do we have a motion then?
Yes. The motion to authorize the town administrator to sign the agreement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 17, vote to declare fire department engine number 1 surplus.
So this was, Chief DeKing was in front of you during the budget season, and the warrant committee, the capital budget committee, the insurance trust fund. This engine is being declared surplus, and we replaced this engine with the $25,000 engine we purchased from Westwood. And we would like to take this out for an auction. We tested the waters preliminarily to see what we could get for it. And so now that we know what we think we can do, we'd like you to declare it surplus, and we will move forward.
Is it more or less than $25,000?
It seems to be just about $25,000.
Crazy.
Fair enough.
I'm set if you're set.
Yep, go ahead.
All right. You want a motion? The motion so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 18, vote to sign on-call painting contract and maintenance services with Catco Contracting Inc. with pricing outlined in the bid sheet.
The period of performance is from today until August 17th, 27. 1-year contract.
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
All right. Motion so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
19, vote to sign the State 911 Department Emergency Medical Dispatch Grant application for $3,806.46, and the State 911 Department Public Safety Answering Point and Regional Emergency Communications Center Support and Incentive Grant application for $41,845.
And we're authorizing the chair to sign it. The only question I had on this one was the second grant is all personnel costs. And I don't know if you know, Christine, somehow or another we're getting a supplement that covers personnel costs that does something that we wouldn't, I guess, otherwise do. It just didn't
I don't have an answer for you on that. I know this is our annual grant application, but I can follow up with the chief if you'd like. She can
I'd be
give you a
just
summary.
curious, but it doesn't need to delay the vote.
Okay.
I couldn't tell if it was training, for some reason.
I
in the back of
believe
my
it's
mind-
training.
In the
I believe
past, I
it's
thought it was for training. This one just showed up as personnel costs. I didn't know if it was getting people to use special kind of equipment or.
I believe it's training, but I'll have the deputy send you, all three of you, an
Yeah.
email updating you on that.
That doesn't need to delay the vote. We
Okay.
can accept it.
You still going, are we good with moving ahead?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm good. Motion? Calling motion?
Second.
Motion?
You have a motion. Motion so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 20, vote to set the rent for 67 North Street, Unit B, 1B, affordable unit, subject to final confirmation from EOHLC.
So just to give you some background on this, this is a vacant affordable unit, Unit 1B, and they have a tenant ready to move in September 1st. We've been working with EOHLC Maria's been working with them for probably the last 2 months to get this finalized. They've had some staffing turnover. We just heard about this last night. We didn't want to wait until September and
Sure.
affect the person who needs the unit on September 1st.
Yep.
So the maximum rent that they are allowed to charge is $2,709. They're looking for a rent of $2,600. The previous tenant paid $23.50, and their rent was not raised in the 3 years that they lived there. So,
Okay, closing the gap.
yep. And just to clarify, the 5% that we have as a policy is for existing tenants. We don't increase existing tenants by 5%, but this is a new tenant.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, do we have a motion then?
We do, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 20,
clear, so what grant did you actually offer?
Hold on, let me just do my math real quick to make sure I'm.
2,600, is that what we just?
Yeah, and let me just,
per month?
yes, hold on one second. So make sure my math is correct, I apologize. Maria wrote it down on a sticky for me, and now I can't find it. 2,600, I was correct,
Okay.
yes.
Number 21, vote to sign MOU with MassDOT for rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFB, at the following pedestrian crosswalks. A, North Street at Janes Avenue, B, South Street at Metacomet, C, Main Street and Robert Sproul Road.
So this was a grant that Maria and Mo had been working on in the spring, and I came to you to let you know that they had approved our locations, only there was a fourth location. So let me step back. Main Street and Robert Sproul was not originally on this list that we applied for the grant.
Right.
It was down at Metacomet.
And Pleasant.
And Pleasant. Metacomet and Pleasant was not approved for the RFB. It's not appropriate, and they did this whole study on it. They were going to leave us with just two, and luckily Mo and Maria were on the call and jumped in and said, well, how about this? We have one at Robert Sproul that needs to be replaced. So they did some work on it. We got this an hour before the meeting tonight, asking us to sign the MOU. What they also want to recognize is that they did the research and the traffic volumes and the traffic studies for the north at Janes and the south at Metacomet. They have not done that at Main Street and Robert Sproul. And what they're asking is just for the select board to acknowledge and okay that. We already have one there, so we feel fine with replacing it.
Yeah.
We just have to acknowledge that they didn't make the recommendation. We're recommending it to you. So-
One of the things, I don't remember reading this before I got here, but I know I read some of this because there was a communication from the state on this. That said you can do this at this crosswalk if you want, but because we haven't done some of the
Yes.
stuff we're supposed to do, if I read it right, and I was reading it really quickly at the end of the day, it sounded like we would be obligated to pay for the installation. Is that?
We're paying for the installation on all of these.
Okay.
They're just providing us with the beacons.
Huh.
And then we're doing the installation on all of them.
Okay, so there's nothing we're doing cost-wise here that's different than what we're doing for the other two?
Nope, they just wanted us to acknowledge that they didn't do any traffic volume studies. So
Okay.
basically, if it doesn't work out, it's not their fault.
Yeah, okay.
But we have
okay,
one in that
got it.
existing location, so the chief, Mo, and Maria all felt comfortable.
109, that's 109, that's, yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a little busy.
And we've been working, we've replaced this one and fixed it so many times that we would just welcome a new beacon.
We've had public feedback from people complaining about
Yes.
this one.
Oh, yeah,
so-
oh, yeah,
Yep.
no doubt.
Good.
Okay, do we have a motion then?
You have a motion to vote to sign the MOA with MassDOT for rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFP, at the following pedestrian crosswalks. To confirm, it's North Street at Janes Ave, South Street at Metacomet, and Main Street at Robert Sproul Road.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye, aye. Next is our consent agenda. First item there is a one-day beer wine request for the Family Woodland Jamboree in Rocky Woods Reservation, September 19, from 12 to 2. Next one is one-day beer wine licenses for Zulu Gallery for the following events. A, live music performance, singer-songwriter Peter Mulvey, September 11 from 5:30 to 11:30 p.m. Next, Ladies Dance Night, September 12th from 5:30 to 11:30. Next, Latin Jazz Band, September 19 from 5:30 to 11:30. Next, Medfield 375th Parade, October 17 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is an all liquor license one-day request. And finally, wine and cheese tasting, November 5th from 5:30 to 11:30. The next consent item is...
Before we get on that, I will just point out item D there starts an hour before we routinely approve liquor licenses. Ordinarily it's noon, but I'm prepared once every 50 years during a 375th or other major event to go with the flow of the scheduling of the parade to allow it on such a momentous occasion.
Next item is a one-day beer wine request for Montrose School's annual homecoming Friday, September 18, from 6 to 9.
6 to 8.
I'm sorry. Next is vote to allow the Dover-Sherburne cross-country team to use a portion of the field between the State Hospital campus and the Dover-Sherburne High School campus for boys and girls cross-country races on September 16, 23, and 30th from around 4 p.m. to 5:30. The field would be marked with temporary flags and signs. Staff would be posted at the top of the field, as well as a coach at the entrance exit from the field to the woods. Next item, vote to allow the block party permit for Tamarack Road at Emerson and Tamarack, September 26th from 4 to 8. Next, vote to allow the block party permit for the dead end of Indian Hill Road and Niantic Street, September 26th from 3 to 7 p.m. And finally, vote to approve the Bike to the Beach for Autism event on September 19. Do we have a motion to allow those?
I have one question on the Bike to the Beach. I tried figuring out from their route information. I don't know if there's one that barely goes through Medfield. And does anybody know what the route actually, I don't know if this is, I don't think this is as big a deal as Pan Mass Challenge.
No, it's really
I thought it was
small,
something down
and
towards South Street.
I think it's
It's
very
just-
small. I know they met with Barry on this, and he didn't have an issue with it,
Okay,
but I
good.
agree that I think this is one of the ones that it's not.
Yeah, I
It
thought
doesn't
so. I tried to figure it out. and
So did I, and I stopped. After like 5 pages,
Every
I'm like,
town
yeah,
has a
forget
South
it.
Street.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
town
Every
has a South
town has
Street.
it,
So I
yeah.
thought I knew where we
Like,
were.
yeah, I'm done.
The Bay, and it's like, but, okay,
All right.
if Barry's okay with it, then that's fine, just. tell me about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Okay.
a significant, but
I
I will.
motion to
I will
accept
talk
the
to him.
consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No citizen,
Just a point on the parade in Zulu, they understand the liquor taps are stay on their premises, right?
Once you get up there, nobody's leaving that deck.
gifts, citizens' comment, meeting minutes. Do we have an issue on the meeting minutes to approve?
I do not. I reviewed them all, May 12th, June 2nd, June 16th. They were super minor mechanical edits. I made sure, as I told Christine, that the Z and Herbst Zuber showed up everywhere, so those are corrected. On June 30th, I made some wordsmithing edits, and the reason I'm bringing it up is it's mainly the section that was the discussion about the
Yeah, I saw
pride
that.
flag. I did not change I didn't make structural changes, I strictly did wordsmithing. The only correction I made is that I thanked Steve Cole for his comments where this had said that I had thanked Sarah Zatoli, and it was actually, so I corrected that as a matter of fact, but that was it.
There was one set of meeting minutes, which is kind of funny. You actually corrected New in Town, and it was spelled correctly.
That's not a capital T?
No, it was, I went, actually, what I did, just so whoever, like, when she goes to review it, I did a cut and paste from the
Yeah.
New in Town website,
Yeah.
so that it should,
The T in town is small? I could have sworn it was a capital T.
I thought it was capital too, but.
Yeah.
It-
Anyway.
but I looked at it, I'm like, it was spelled correctly. I'm like, why did it get crossed out? But okay.
So do we have a motion to approve the 4
Motion to
minutes?
approve the meeting minutes for May 12th, June 2nd, June 16th, and June 30th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Town administrator updates. Chris?
I have a few this evening. I had the opportunity, Brittany and I had the opportunity to attend First Thursday at Zulo this past week, and we had a fantastic evening with our residents. And, you know, it seems silly to say since it's right here in our downtown, but it is a hidden gem.
Oh, yeah.
Those First Thursdays are absolutely incredible. Bill Pope just does just an amazing job, and it was just such a great atmosphere and just really nice to be up there. I happened to run into him last night. The last one is August 27th, so if you're around, I highly recommend it. And I could probably be talked into
But
going
it looks
back.
like he's got some other stuff going on as we go into the
He's
fall.
got other
so,
things too,
yeah.
but for that Perfect Strangers event on Thursdays is his last one's the 27th. And then just so you're aware, Town of Medfield is hosting the Mass Municipal Association Suffolk University Leadership Academy. And that will run for 9 months, starting mid-September on Fridays, and we're hosting that at Public Safety. Our past graduates from that program were Sarah Raposa, Nick Milano, Maria, Brittany, and Frank. This year, Ben Jackowitz and Cameron Smith will be representing Medfield at the Leadership Academy. So really nice to have it. I think when Brittany took it, she had to commute to Barnstable, so she's really jealous. It's actually super local. So we've been working with Mass Municipal for the last 18 months to bring that to town, and we're really excited to show our town off to all of the other municipal officials who will be here for 9 months. So
Nice.
excited for that opportunity. I already mentioned it earlier, but as we were wrapping up our intern program, some of our interns have already gone on to their next steps for their fall semesters abroad. Just really what a fantastic group we had this year. Just absolutely amazing. The projects that they work on that department heads will continue to use has just been perfect, and we can't thank them enough. And all thanks go to Brittany and Cam for running that program. Brittany got it started a couple of years ago, and I think this year it has just been so successful, and Brittany and Cam made sure everybody had something to do all the time in every department. So kudos to them for doing their own job and then running that as well. You heard from Carolyn tonight about the SBC, the timeline. It is aggressive. I really want to encourage everybody to sign up for the SBC updates. It's so easy. We're going to be available on Medfield Day to help people sign up. We'll be available at the parade. If anybody wants to sign up, we're happy to help you. I just want to make sure people are aware, as Carolyn said, what's happening and how quickly it's going to start to happen, and we really need that input from everybody. And the other thing is Citizens Academy is open. So if anybody is interested, this is our second year. I would hate to say it's better than last year, but I've seen what they're planning. It's gonna be even better. So if you're interested in attending Citizens Academy, get your application in as soon as possible. They're gonna cap it at 15 people. So once we hit that 15, we'll have to stop and move you to a wait list for the next year. So I would urge everybody, I know everybody's busy trying to finalize summer, but get your applications in as soon as possible. And that's it. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, we've got meeting dates. We're going back to 2 meetings a month in September. September 24th is the board and committee recognition night. Select board reports. Mr. Murphy.
Last week of July, we were out in Oregon visiting my son out there in Coos Bay, which was a nice trip. They have good weather out there too, and they didn't have any Canadian wildfire smoke coming through, so that's great. Actually expecting a second grandchild showing up at the end of August, so and then they've got to figure out how they're going to move from Coos Bay to Mobile, Alabama, probably in October. I'm trying to. I'd offered to drive the second car, so I have to let my son know not to plan that trip on a date that includes the 17th of October. But I think I've got to wait until his wife actually delivers before I start even worrying about that. I had a meeting with Ian Rogers since our last meeting, and the reason I did it is I just wanted to get calibrated on the hero banners. I think we've talked
good.
briefly about it. So there was one initiative to get banners that actually honored individual veterans, and that's underway. And then through the Legion, they wanted to put up banners that would recognize the different services. And having attended the last Legion meeting in June, I was a little worried that expectations and timing and synchronization weren't all they needed to be, which is why I wanted to talk to Ian about it. It turned out that Ian was on top of it all. We're in good shape on that. What I did learn is that the banners, I think that Marion has put up for the 375th, which are on the town streetlights.
Yeah.
Those are probably not going to be the sites for those holders may not be the same size.
Yep.
Ian is targeting the telephone poles, and you're working with Eversource. So there are we got two different sets of mounting brackets on various poles in town, and those two are separate. Interesting that we had a discussion about flock safety, because I've maybe like you, Pete, if you brought it up as well, that there were a couple of videos that showed up on Facebook this past week with some apps that people can use to see where the flock safety cameras are. And I was surprised the first time I saw one of these because it showed there were 2 in Medfield. The second video was actually better in terms of whatever app the person was using, because I was able to figure out that the 2 were in fact on the Montrose site, and at least the diagrams show the visual fields are in on the Montrose private property.
Boston Globe posted that. If that
Okay.
person pulled it, they pulled the link from the Boston Globe.
Okay.
Because I read it from the Boston Globe, exactly what
Okay.
you're reading.
So anyway, my point is, so Montrose is using flock safety as 24-hour or, 24-hour surveillance for their private property. That's up to them. But that's the place that,
They have a pole at the front of the property, and what they would pick up depends on which way the camera's pointed.
well, yeah.
So that the camera could very easily be picking up the traffic on North Street.
Well, that's not what this app suggested they were doing, but Pete, I think you're bringing up a really important issue. People have Ring cameras, and the Ring cameras actually can kind of look and get you a picture out to the road. But when you have something like an ALPR, that could be a private ALPR pointed to public property, I just think that's a rat's nest that hasn't really been kicked over yet. Imagine if you had it on your private property on the driveway, but you had it pointed over to your neighbor across the street
Oh, yeah.
and put them under tow. So I think there's a whole, fortunately, I think we've skirted this. We want to stay clear. A lot of towns are discovering that this is in place in their towns, and they're getting rid of them. I also saw a video of one of the executives of Flock Safety testifying before, I think, a city council, and he did not build a lot of confidence in me in terms of overall attitude and tone. It didn't, so.
The courts have addressed that, and in the criminal context, they've determined that it's an illegal search and seizure to point a
It should
camera
be.
at your neighbor's house,
Yeah,
for instance,
yeah.
and pick up what's going on inside the living room.
Yeah, I mean, the rationale is, well, you've given up your privacy rights if you use public property. And I actually think there's a problem with that concept. You have an expectation that you can use public property without having somebody monitoring you all the time. So we'll see where that goes.
I think the courts are different than that statement. I think that in public, you don't have an expectation of privacy, unfortunately.
No, I agree with that. I think the law is going to have to evolve. I mean, Chinese have total,
Oh,
Stuff is
yeah,
so long.
yeah.
so they can do facial recognition. I think we're crossing a Rubicon.
Yeah.
And there's one last important thing I have to report to you.
Well, because
is
we have
that
2 executive sessions.
the Arbor Day Foundation received a letter addressed to Mayor Gustav Murby congratulating me, so I think you all should just be giving a little more respect here because they've been promoted by Arbor Day. We had a great slogan that I'm adopting. We believe cities that take care of their trees take care of their people. And as mayor, I think it's important for everybody in the town to keep that in mind. That's it.
All right.
All right, I've been busy since our last meeting at the end of June. So I attended the Mel Seabold Classic. That was a fantastic event. I don't know if either of you guys had a chance to either go to Metacomet or to McCarthy, but I was up there the Thursday night it kicked off. Then I had a chance, because I live right near Metacomet, so I walked down there throughout the weekend and was there for the family's first pitch for the championship games Sunday afternoon. Great weather, great turnout, and I cannot tell you how many parents walking by from the other towns just gave massive accolades. And so Katie and her team did a phenomenal job. And then followed that right up with the National Night Out. Again, I don't know if you guys made that over at Hinkley Pond, where the police and Parks and Rec combined. Unbelievable turnout. You would have thought they were handing out money, because if you came around the corner for Green Street, it was packed. The police they were phenomenal. Katie and the chief put together a fun night. You could sit on a motorcycle and take a picture with the police officer, or be on it by yourself. Sergeant Haynes did a great job with spinning this wheel where you could get prizes. And because I think all these kids are in bed by now, when he'd say, "What do you want?" he'd be like, "I want a bike helmet." And he'd spin the wheel, and he like, oh, you got it. And like, it was so cute. The kids between bike helmets and Bluey backpacks, Ocean State Job Lot donated a lot of stuff. So the place was packed. There was a ice cream truck, a food truck. And if I'm not mistaken, I might be taking some thunder from something that recently just happened. But one of the kids that got the bike helmet saved him from when he got hit doing a crosswalk. So I don't want to take the thunder away, but I think that's going to be announced. But that was fantastic. And 21 North donated shirts announcing the night. So really nice community effort. So I do want to thank Katie. I don't know when her last day is. I know she's moving.
Her last day is Friday.
This Friday, okay.
This Friday.
So just accolades, I think of 3 years? son, right? So,
3.5, yeah.
yeah, so I've been involved with Parks and Rec, having been involved in it over the years, so I've definitely attended a lot of their meetings and a lot of these events, and I just want to give her kudos. And, you know, my parting comment to her was, she left Parks and Rec better than she found it, right? And so
Absolutely.
I wish her the best of luck as she moves on to her new endeavor. And then I met with a resident in early July regarding community gardens. Just wanted to share some things that were happening at community gardens, and something I had said to this woman, because she was talking about all the charity work they do and a lot of the food. Like, they have sections that the residents combine their efforts, and then they get that food and they give it to a lot of the food pantries. So I was like, it would be great if, you know, as we move along, if there's nights where some of these volunteer groups come in and share what's going on in the community, because I think it's a hidden gem. Been a couple of dog control bylaw meetings as well as walks. So we've walked Wheelock Field, we walked Redgate Farm, and we walked the state hospital on the opposite side of where the construction is going on. So down by the sledding hill and down through all those little paths. And so there's areas where we want to be careful where if people have their dogs on or off leash because of the cemetery and all. But a lot of good dialogue going on there. I won't get into depth. I know there'll be an update in the next meeting. Had a chance to sit in some Concom meetings, just kind of picking up on some of the projects that are going on. I have been walking Bennett up to the roundabout quite a bit, just to view what's going on. It's one thing to drive through the roundabout, but to watch and just see how people are reacting, I think it's coming along fantastically. So I give kudos to when that's all wrapped up. Then there was the fire department swearing-in ceremony in July. So we had was it Harry Sawin, Alex Tuckerman, Steve Ladogar, Ladogar, is that how you say his last name? And then Bobby Bruno was promoted, so that was mid-July. That was fantastic. Pete, you opened the meeting with the passing of Eve Potts. When I came on board as a new select board member, like 5-6 years ago, she was very supportive of me and just like, having her come to these meetings early on. So just thinking of her and her family. We had the goals workshop, just a reminder that we are all at that. And then I've already talked about the MSBA designer panel that I sat on when Carolyn was giving the overview. And that be that.
I had the Energy Committee meeting, and there was a long discussion of Paul Fedelkocher and what he has done for the town. He's done a lot. There was a report from Bob Winograd about the Medfield Community Electric, new contract with Direct Energy for 35 months at a savings over the Eversource rates. They're going to run another solarized program like Marie Zach Nolan did years ago. And then I had office hours at the first Friday of the month, and that's it for me. Anything else, Chris, in the informational that we should highlight for people?
Nope, I think that's.
Do we have our thing we have to read if we're going into executive session?
Well, yes, because you all miss Brittany so much. I'm on my screen because I didn't have it printed out.
All right, so we don't want a motion to move, we just want
Select board needs to meet.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I think it's written here the way we did to name the two parcels, so.
The select board needs to meet in executive session. Small font, sorry.
Sorry.
To consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, formerly Medfield State Hospital property, and separate parcel. I declare that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the select board. The open session will not reconvene for the regularly scheduled select board meeting.
Thank you. All right. I move that the select board meet in executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, former Medfield State Hospital property, and separate parcel. The chair has declared that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the select board. The open session will not reconvene. Chair roll call.
Second.
All those in favor?
No.
Roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Murby.
Aye.
Ms. Murphy.
Aye, aye.
Peterson, aye, aye.
Okay.
All right, we are adjourned.
We are adjourned.